Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered here by Go Chevrolet. Shout out to our friends over at Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com, located in LaPlace, Louisiana, and right here in Baton Rouge for your used cars from Go Chevrolet. Remember, hit them online, GEAUXchevrolet.com. As always, our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. We're going to talk to Billy Embody at 7:30 this morning, as Embody's going to be here talking some recruiting. Obviously, a huge day for LSU, and as always, our phone lines are brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Huge day on the LSU recruiting grounds for the Tigers as they pick up the number one offensive lineman in the state of Louisiana on the heels of picking up the second-rated offensive lineman in Tyree Adams out of St. Aug a couple of weeks back. They land Zalance Hurd on Thursday. That is an enormous pickup for Brad Davis. Brad Davis told us when he came through here that he was going to clean up in this recruiting cycle, and he is on his way, man. After Paul Mubanga from Georgia committed a couple of weeks ago, we saw the commitment from Tyree Adams. Now there is a commitment from Zalance Hurd, the five-star offensive tackle that, really had a tremendous summer. We had Sam Spiegelman on right after LSU's on-campus camp that Zalance was there, and that's really when he was elevated to a five-star. And I know everybody's kind of waiting on him to be, pushed down to a four-star now that he's committed to LSU. But they, like we've always said, you can do whatever you want in the rankings for how many stars you want to put next to Zalance Hurd's name. He's one of the best players in high school football this year. I mean, he is a dominant offensive lineman, a lot like his predecessor at left tackle from Neville High School, Will Campbell. Zalance Hurd plays with an attitude. He plays with just a nastiness to him that this offensive line and LSU has been missing for a while, but now they have an infusion of it with guys like Campbell and guys like Emory Jones and Bo Bordelon that came in last year's class, and even some guys on this offensive line like Miles Frazier, who transferred in the offseason. So Zalance Hurd is a huge pickup for LSU yesterday on the recruiting trail, and really kind of sets LSU up going into the season, really sitting in a sweet spot as far as recruiting goes, setting up for the regular season. Remember, as Shea Dixon, newest member of On 3, told us yesterday, that LSU and Florida State have the ability to use this weekend for recruiting purposes. There's tickets that are available for both programs to use towards recruits. They can't have contact with them, but they can be on program passes to get to the game. So it'll be interesting to see how many take part in this weekend, and I'd imagine that Zalance Hurd will be one of them. But that was a huge commitment for LSU, and also it sets up Brad Davis with back-to-back classes on the offensive line, really building towards the future and establishing, what that room's going to look like. I mean, that offensive line room, into the future, when you think about what it's going to look like with the last two recruiting classes, Bordelon, Emory Jones, Will Campbell in last year's cycle, and then this year's with Zalance Hurd, Tyree Adams, Paul Mubanga. I know that there's still opportunities for other guys out there. The Chester kid from Atlanta, DJ Chester, I believe is his name, is another one that I believe LSU's got a real opportunity with.
He had some rumblings like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of slow played it a little bit, I guess. But if LSU can keep pulling in these offensive linemen, this is kind of what we were saying earlier with how Ed Orgeron recruited the defensive line.
Yeah.
What BK is doing on the offensive front, like you can see where he kind of wants to put all of his chips in. And hey, if you want to give me a coach, and I'll take either way, where you're building it in the trenches, that's where football is won and lost. Not the sexiest part of it, but you can tell the teams that are consistently in the playoff are consistently good. O-line, D-line.
No, and I think that's how LSU is going to be built, right? I mean, when you look at the defensive line now, Ed Orgeron said that was what he was going to do when he got the job, was going to rebuild the line of scrimmage. And for as much as he tried to on the offensive side, he failed there, but he enormously succeeded on the defensive line. Obviously, that being his individual position that he coached, but I mean, that room right now feels like what the offensive line room is going to look like in 2 years because of the recruiting classes that they brought in. And I still think they'll be able to keep up that speed, obviously, what they've done in recruiting in defensive line this offseason too. So huge pickups for LSU yesterday in recruiting. And like I said, it sets up the class in a really sweet spot heading into the regular season just to close up a couple of spots and, get ready for some early enrollees in the early signing period. So LSU recruiting rolling into the fall. Shout out real quick before we get going. Yesterday, man, was on the speaking tour, and two of my favorite stops was out at the Zachary Rotary Club yesterday afternoon with a great group. David Thornton always invites me out there as his guest speaker, and always cool to get over to Zachary. And obviously with the documentary that we're shooting, Dawn of a Legacy with Zachary and Woodlawn, it was cool to get out there in that community and talk about some of the projects that we have going on and the support that people have for it out there. It's a great place, man. Stewie and Jamil and I were over at practice the other day, and I was telling the room that, it looks like the University of Zachary over there when you just go check out practice and watch them go through. And then last night, such a cool room, man, with the MBS Men's Club, the Most Blessed Sacrament Men's Club, Gil Berthelot and his crew. Without question, I do the men's club speaking tour for summer, and you go around, man, it's all a great group of dudes. They're all having fun. They all cook. By far, MBS has the best menu. They got some cooks in there that, like, you could start like a Most Blessed Sacrament Men's Club restaurant.
Here's the Most Blessed Sacrament.
It is. Last night, barbecue pasta. Never heard of it.
That first time for me.
Never heard of it.
Feels like
barbecue pasta.
That's an off the menu.
And some chicken wings. The last time I was there, I ate alligator sauce piquant. That I still, still can smell it. You know what I mean?
Oh, you feel it on you.
Absolutely. I did. It was tough going to sleep last night after the barbecue pasta for sure.
Last night.
Really?
Is it a? Would you
it
say
tastes like chicken?
Right. Would you say alligator is like a fishy chicken?
A little rubbery.
All right.
Yeah.
I love alligator.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah.
Me too,
It is.
I love frog legs.
Fire.
Frog legs are fire.
TCU, LSU.
Yeah.
Frog legs were out.
Kind of like chicken strips.
Dallas.
Chicken strips.
Yeah. I
Right?
agree.
Yeah.
Or dude, we talk about maybe a little something with a partner down the road. The blackened alligator that they have is unbelievable. Like little bites that walk on, swoop, pop those things in. Bro, you can't go wrong. I think it's healthy.
But
I think.
I don't know.
Shout out to the crew over at the Zachary Rotary Club. Shout out to the guys over at the MBS Men's Club for having me out last night, man. It's always cool to get into those rooms. And like I always say, man, that's grassroots for us. It's always it's always cool to get down and shake hands and meet the people that are out there that are either listening or just as passionate about sports as we are. I never claim to know to claim that I know more than everybody. We're talking about sports, right? We're not talking about the nuclear code here. So I get that a lot of people out there have as much passion, maybe even more passion for certain parts of sports. So it's always cool to go talk to people to see what really moves the meter. And a lot of it, really, it all starts with recruiting. A lot of people want to talk about the recruiting aspect of college football, and LSU really has set themselves up going into the season to just really, they've done tremendous amount of work over the last couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to talking to Billy Embody just about how good of a job they have done with just putting themselves in a really nice position going into the season. But it's all about Sunday, right? Football season is here. Football season started last night. I don't know if you watch how we do, boys. How'd our plays do? How'd you do?
I think it was 3-2 on
Not
the
bad.
night. I went
Okay.
in with a little bit. I obviously was watching the game. So the thing about the Caesars app is that they let you live bet these games, and that was not an option last year. And now if you really can be, you really got to watch the momentum
fall
of the
deep
game.
into that hole, bro.
Absolutely. You start betting overs and unders. It's like, all right, I think I'll cash out this one.
Where are we?
Put that money back.
Where are we?
And it's just a whirlwind. I had to wake up this
I
morning
am
and check
broke.
my account. I was like, I think I made money. I'm not sure, but it's it's like $1 up or $4 down. It's like, oh, I came out with 28 up because I did Penn State money line. I was like,
Oof.
little Penn State magic right at the end. Then you get the score that you needed, and I was like, okay, cash that ticket. But it was just all in all, I don't know how I'm going to watch LSU games this year. It's going to be just a whirlwind of emotion with the live bet. Tiger Stadium better get that Wi-Fi figured out.
Gotta
I'm
get
on that
Gotta
thing.
get on the media Wi-Fi. We got you.
Slide me that.
We got you.
Yeah,
Give
right.
me a passcode over there, Stu, if you don't mind.
Give me a vest.
I was impressed with Pittsburgh last night. I really was.
Considering who they lost.
That's
and
what I'm
how they
saying.
were, yeah.
You know what I mean? And for as much as Narduzzi ran his mouth this offseason, I thought he really kind of put an X on his back. And I thought opening up with West Virginia, that could have gone really bad for them. You know what I mean? Just losing Addison, losing his quarterback, kind of, really kind of bringing a lot of attention to himself this offseason.
Bold play.
I thought it was too, man. And for him to come out and score points, I thought Slavis looked pretty good.
You know
Yeah.
who's not good? Is JT Daniels.
He's not good.
He's not good.
He's not good. It's not.
It's the hair
It's not an accident
that he's
if
leaving everywhere
guys
he goes.
play at multiple spots.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you get past 2 spots in college football, it's probably not the programs.
But he's gonna ride that 5-star status all the way to the NFL. He's gonna get drafted, or he's gonna get signed. He's just one of He's like Matt Barkley.
He'll have a radio show in LA. In 4
Absolutely,
years,
I'm
bro.
sure he'll be perfectly happy.
Right.
I'm sure he's done well. But I just don't. You can just look at him and you can tell like that's not your starting quarterback.
Right.
There's no certain. And if you get beat out by Stetson Bennett, no shame on Stetson Bennett. Guy won a national championship, but when you're the 5-star heralded recruit coming from USC, transfers over to Georgia, and then you get beat out by the guy, they're like, I don't even know if he's on the team.
Yeah.
That should have been the kind of the writing on the wall there for you. And then he gets another shot at West Virginia and gets first game of the year, backyard brawl, egg on his face. And lose to Keaton Slovis, who was also at USC when he was there,
Right.
beat him out. And it's
right.
like, God, he's in
Can't run
a
away from
house
it.
of horrors.
He can't run away
Every
from it.
mirror
I mean,
he looks in, he
it's a
just sees
nightmare.
another quarterback that he's like, oh, God, he's better than, oh, God.
I know.
But he
With
sees
him.
himself.
It's a nightmare, man. I was also impressed with West Virginia's running back. Did you see that cat? He's a true freshman.
Oh, see, I didn't know he was a freshman.
He had like 7 carries for 120 yards or something. I mean, like,
Hey, the ghost of Steve Slayton.
it was a hell of a performance. C.J. Donaldson is his name. Heads up, look out for him this season, man. I was very impressed with C.J. Donaldson. We'll give you some games that are jumping out this weekend. In fact, I put my bet in on LSU Florida State last night on the Caesar Sportsbook app. I'm taking the under.
Me too.
I'm going under.
I did first
Under
half
50?
under.
Yeah, it's under. I got it 50
50, yeah.
at Caesar Sportsbook app. If you want to check that out, just download the app. Use the promo code FM15, the letter F, the letter M15 when you sign up to get yourself a great promotion of $1,500 risk free over there at Caesar Sportsbook. But the under 50 really jumped out to me from LSU, and here's why. I think that first off, LSU's defense is going to control this game. I think that's the reason that, I feel very secure in betting the under, because I'm not sure that Florida State's really going to be able to figure LSU's front out for a while on Sunday afternoon, if at all. And if that defensive front 7, can control the game like I believe they can, I think it's going to be a long night for Florida State offensively. And I know that they had, 3 100-yard rushers last weekend, and that's very impressive, especially in a program with the storied history like Florida State. For that never to have happened before is something pretty cool. But totally different atmosphere, totally different game, totally different opponent when it comes to Sunday for Florida State. And when I look at the instability that they've had on their offensive line in the offseason and still looking for answers to be for answers to questions that they have up front. Played 3 centers last weekend.
If
You know what I mean?
Centers, you have none.
You playing 3 centers going into Mason Smith and Jaquelin Roy, good luck. And I think that's going to be, just spell for a long night. And then LSU offensively, look, first game. I love a team that can come out first game and play like Oklahoma State did last night. Good.
Or Missouri.
God. That was a track meet in Stillwater. Every time you looked up, they were scoring.
Gundy.
So, if LSU can get off the bus scoring like that, that would be awesome. But I just don't expect it, right? I think that there's still, a lot of questions that, and look, we've talked about this a lot, but we can still dive into it. This offensive line, when you just kind of talk it out loud, all of them individually can play. all of them individually come in with accolades. All of them individually have had high points that you can point at and say, hey, that guy's a player, right? I mean, Will Campbell, his high school career was one that, people will talk about in this state for a long time. He comes in, he starts as a true freshman at left tackle on his first game, play one of his career. It's incredible, man. But there's going to be growing pains for him, right? I mean, I always use the example of Myles Garrett and Lyle Collins. I still see it so clearly that night that Fournette trucked over the defensive back in College Station his freshman year. If you rewind that tape to the beginning of the game, Myles Garrett was really starting to come on as a freshman. The game was at the end of the year. The last couple of weeks, Garrett had really kind of started to grow out of his freshman shell and look like the prospect that everybody envisioned him to be as the number one defensive player in the country coming out of that recruiting cycle. But in the last game of the season, he was going up against Lyle Collins, who was a potential top 10 pick if he didn't go through his draft day drama like he had. But a first rounder that was 22 years old, and Garrett was still 18. And there's still that image of Garrett just being pile-driven by Lyle Collins. I mean, he's got Myles Garrett. Lyle Collins has Myles Garrett on roller skates. I mean, just kind of pushing him around wherever Collins wanted him to go. Garrett it was like he was dancing with him, right? I mean, just embarrassing him. And it wasn't the fact that Garrett wasn't Myles Garrett. It's just the fact that this guy is 21, 22 years old, been playing the game now for 3 years, and he's a grown man. And at some point, Will Campbell is going to run into that. And it's probably going to be before Will Anderson. But, Campbell's starting as a true freshman to give you an idea of how good he is. And there's going to be a lot of high points for Campbell this season, but there's going to be some points where you're like, he looks like a freshman, right? Miles Frazier at left guard. Guy's been training at right guard the majority of the time. His entire career at Florida International in high school, he played tackle. So, on Sunday night, the game that Miles Frazier steps out there and plays, that's going to be the highest quality of game as far as like talent on the field that he's ever played in. And he's playing it at a totally different position. We've talked about Garrett Dellinger at center. They looked at Dellinger and said, who do we trust the most in the offensive line room? Who's the guy that we can look at and say, hey, man, who can handle the toughest task? Probably be Dellinger, right? Well, he's never done this. He's doing it for the first time on Sunday night. Call out the protection. Name the strength of the defense. Snap the ball. Protect himself. Get in the right protection. Then do it all over again. There's going to be some spots where it doesn't look like he's ever done that before. Right guard Anthony Bradford's been training at tackle the whole time. He's playing a new position. And then Cam Wire comes in there with the most starts and I guess gives you some stability, but still, he's never been able to hammer down the spot. He didn't get the job until last weekend? For the majority of camp, Anthony Bradford was your right tackle and Miles Frazier was your right guard. Tremont Shorts was the guy that was getting left guard reps. And he's going to be the sixth guy off the bench, and I still think you see Emory Jones at some point. So there's a lot of question marks for LSU on that offense that you're like, hey, man, they got talent. They got the ability to put up points, but in game one, you're still kind of looking around, figuring out the chemistry of, hey, we've never done this before. And at the offensive line, that's a position where, you really got to play together. There's certain positions on the field that take a chemistry to it to really be fluid and really be able to perform.
You want cohesion.
Sure. Right? You can go out there with, a one-game scenario with a bunch of talent and make some stuff happen. For the long haul and the consistency of it to happen, you just got to play together.
How much do you think, you talk about a one-game scenario, how much do you think that LSU is putting a bunch of chips in this FSU basket? Like, let's just get through this win, and you probably see a totally different lineup by week 5, week 6.
Oh, I think that there's still...
Because I think they have so much on this game that they're like, whatever it takes to win week 1, and then we'll probably go from there. It doesn't help that week 3 isn't any easier when you get into conference play, but it just feels so much like there's so much for whether you like it or not, just because change of the regime, all of that, like new staff, new era. It feels like there's so much riding on this game when it really, in the grand scheme of things, shouldn't be that big of a deal. But it just feels like we've talked about it so much. We've had so much turnover when you're covering the LSU team, and it's just like, all right, it feels like that we've built this LSU Florida State game up to be something so massive that they're going to do whatever it takes to win, and then we might see like a kind of a different LSU team moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I still think that there are positions in competition going into Sunday night. I still think that there's competition on the offensive line. I think by game 4, 5, or 6, you could have a different lineup. You know, Tremont Shorts and Emory Jones might be in there. Anthony Bradford might be the tackle. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I still think that that's open for competition. I think the cornerback spot is open for competition on Sunday. I think you'll see all 4 guys. Brian Kelly alluded to that yesterday in his press conference. How refreshing was Kelly's press conference on Thursday? Just kind of like, bro, just like spelling out what he's looking for. I mean, some of the things that make a team good in game 1. You know, it's not all about the scoreboard, but like how you handle things within the game. I'm telling you, LSU is striking fear into people around the country because they're looking at it and saying, man, the guy's really had a good summer in recruiting. He didn't have one guy transfer out, right? I mean, like, think about that. In today's college football world, it's simple to say, I'm out of here. This ain't working. This is not what I signed up for. I'm going somewhere else. And for as much as Brian Kelly and his staff cleaned up in the recruiting portal, in the transfer portal, picked up 17 guys that are going to make an impact. I mean, you're going to walk into the Dome on Sunday, and if you're looking at LSU for the first time, which, you know, a lot of, you know, the fans will be doing in person, you're going to see people that transferred in that are starting first off the bench, guys that they're counting on as far as transfers go. Right?
Buy you a program.
Huh?
So you're going to have to, it's a big buy you a program game.
Absolutely. But what you also have to realize is for as successful as they were in the transfer portal and in today's college football world where it's simple to wake up on a Friday morning and say, you know what, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. LSU didn't have one guy transfer after Kelly was established in on the job. And to me, that says a ton about the buy-in to the program and what people feel about it. You don't have to ask the question of, how do you feel about Kelly? Just look at what's going on. Everybody looks in shape. Nobody's transferring out. There's no academic problems presently. Some people paying academic problems or academic repercussions because of something that's happened in the past, but nothing right now is affecting the way that the program is functioning and running under Kelly's direction. And then you go hear him speak like he did yesterday, man, and it's just like, good Lord, what have we been looking at?
I know, man.
Like, I mean, it's just, this guy is, it's very just refreshing.
It's like when you walk into class and you actually have like you have a teacher that knows what they're doing. You're like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm going to learn something in here. Like I feel like it almost makes you want to be there because of how bought in he is. And he's like, he believes in what he's saying. And it's like, okay, I kind of have to take this seriously because he's so into it. And the way he's conveying the message makes me want to pay more attention, as opposed to somebody gets up there and you're like, I don't think I can learn anything from this man.
All I learned was that there's a few players hurt, and somebody's going to be out this week. Coach's decision.
And talk to his daddy.
That's it.
So it's look, man, it's here. It's game week. If you want to pick, I would take the under in this game. In fact, I played it last night from our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook. You can download the app and use the promo code FM15 to save yourself up or bet up to $1,500 risk-free over with our friends at Caesars. I'm taking the under 50 in this game, and we'll give you a couple of more plays before we get out of here. Compliments of our friends over at Caesars. But my play for the LSU Florida State game on Sunday is the under. I think LSU is going to win the game. I think they can do it by 2 scores, 10 points, 14 points, 17 points, somewhere around that number. I think is where this game could sit.
21-17,
24-14.
Yeah,
God,
I hope it's not that. I'm with you because I don't think it's going to be
it's
pretty.
It's not going to be.
Just because
it's not going to be a Picasso, man.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Tape it up.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Just get to Southern 1-0.
Just go be better than them.
Just get to Southern 1-0.
Yes.
Right? I mean, like, that's because, like we're talking about, at the end of the year, You know what I mean? However this thing kind of finishes up, you're really going to look back at this weekend and say, hey, you had to have that one. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how ugly it was, and golly, look how different they looked than what they were in the Dome that night. You know, I mean, there's a possibility that this starting lineup that you see on Sunday has 13 guys on it by week 5. You know, I mean, guys that are just, coming up, that Tremont Shorts, Emory Jones. What happens when Seven Banks gets healthy?
Right.
You know, I mean, what happens, when Harold Perkins, when it clicks for him, and he's got to get on the field. I mean, it's going to get to a point with Harold Perkins where within the coaching offices they're going to say, "Fellas,
it's undeniable.
We got to play him."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do?
Perk
you know.
10.
But I tell you this:
Top 10.
every single highlight that I see coming out of LSU, like when I watched like Brian Kelly and Emily Dixon's interview the other day, and they've had some media come out from LSU. Every defensive play I see, Greg pins around the football.
He's a good football player.
I mean, he's just a solid player. Like, I mean,
where's he lining up?
I guess he'd be in the middle.
No, Mike Jones is.
Mike Jones, yeah,
Mike
so,
Jones is the Mike.
Yeah, and
so he'd probably be like the Will,
like the weak side backer. But I mean, I don't know if they're going to play 3 guys, because I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about Weeks.
Yeah,
that they want to play him, and then
plugger.
Harold Perkins
meet you in the middle.
And then Harold Perkins, man.
Real gritty.
People asking about some post-game stuff. This weekend would probably not be a clear indicator of what we're going to look like in football season because we're going to be on the road. We're going to be down there 1 to 3 on Sunday. We'll be live from Lucy's. Our friend Rhett Bourgeois at RMB Builders putting on a tailgate party. In fact, they got a bus leaving town 9:30 on Sunday morning, coming back after the game on Sunday night, giving you an opportunity to go and take in all that. You got to get with Rhett about all the information. I mean,
passing the buck.
Well, I mean, that's what we've been doing.
I know. I saw the text yesterday. It's like, we're not in charge of this.
What else can we do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's just like it's commitment all over again.
Yeah, right.
God,
I mean,
Lord, we're just bringing a laptop, fellas.
Absolutely.
Play the videos.
Email Rhett. Rhett at rmb-builders.com. We're going to be in there. They've invited us in. We're a part of the party, so I mean,
we're
to
just
get in,
spreading the good word.
You got to go through Rhett. Absolutely, Rhett at rmb-builders.com. Rhett at rmb-builders.com to get in touch with him about all the information that is coming up for this Sunday's get together. We'll be at Lucy's. We will not have a post game presence this weekend because we'll all be at the game.
It'll be a post game presence.
Yeah, right.
Feel me?
But we will not be giving you content for the post game here this weekend. We will have a plan. We'll probably be doing a companion show during the season where we're kind of watching the game with you. Rohan and I have talked a little bit about doing that. The fellas have talked about doing and using the watch room, which we hadn't used in a while. But I think that's kind of our plan. And I mean, quite
Certainly
frankly,
for away games.
Quite frankly, whiskey and wine, which me and Moscona created, is a monster. You know what I mean? Like it's an animal, and I get it. And we're not here to try to belly up at the table there. I mean, they own that space.
I know when there's no food on the plate.
It's been great for a while, and I mean, I'm not trying to elbow my way into that. I mean, I see where there's an opening, and there's an opening to do a companion show to sit with people during the game, and maybe that can cross over and kind of carry over into a little bit of a post game. But I mean, whiskey and wine.
It occupies that
monster.
space. Yeah, I mean, congratulations to you for building that up,
right?
With Moscona, but that's not the team anymore. There's a real space for a companion show with Roe, and if we can get a telestrator in there and have
last night was Roe. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the formula. Give him some film, let him break it down. If you didn't see where my dog's at last night,
tune in.
I mean, that's kind of what it's going to look like, where Roe is just kind of showing off. Because when he gets to talking football, I mean, he's speaking levels over your head, but he can bring it down to a 101 level for everyone and kind of just spell it out for you and show you that football's a pretty simple game, man. I mean, it's pretty easy when you have somebody like that kind of showing you what you're looking for and kind of how it looks out.
It's a tutor.
Tough night for our boy Ricky Collins last night. Jaden Alsbury didn't play that much. So he was like dealing with cramps.
Early in the season. South
You know who
Louisiana.
played everywhere was Keelan Moses.
Coach.
Running back, DN,
Do you know the
linebacker,
linebacker's
receiver.
name, number 25, that transferred from Parkview? I'm sorry that I put you on the spot here, but U-High's sophomore
Second time you
linebacker,
brought
I
this
know,
guy up.
I know, sophomore linebacker, transferred in from Parkview. He's in Keelan Moses is 8th grade.
So probably a junior. Isn't Keelan Moses a junior?
No, he's a sophomore.
Wow. Ugh. So he's
30.
class of 2025?
Sophomore.
Put him on the cover of ESPN,
No,
the
please
magazine.
don't.
Is it
Uh,
Alec Haynes?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Did he ball out last night?
I don't know if he did or not, but I'm telling you, he's the best player on that defense.
I mean, 25.
let's. Do we have Billy? Do we have Billy? My bad.
Shave, beard or no beard?
Never mind. He's at 8.
Yeah, I think,
Um,
Alec Haynes. Parkview to U-High.
You found him on TikTok? I'm transferring.
But that's going to be Ricky's issue this year is just protection. You know, I mean, last night I think we saw it. He was constantly just on the run, and I think we said this yesterday going into the game. U-High might have the best defense in the state, all classification. I mean, they got dudes at every single level, and that was a week 1 test for Woodlawn.
Yeah.
That I mean, they would probably like to play that game week 3. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, let them get geared up for it. But that's the thing about Woodlawn's schedule is that they're not running from anybody.
It's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet, man. And when you come out and you're playing some of the state's best, that's what can happen early in the season. And Ricky and the crew were served up with a tough L on opening week as they were shut out, which I know will be high motivation for Marcus Randall and Ricky Collins going into week 2. We'll be out at East Ascension tonight for Zachary and EA week 1 there. Another game for Zachary that they're looking for a little bit of revenge, even though they won the playoff game last year by 2. They had 4 first-half turnovers. Maybe Eli Holstein's
Kryptonite.
maybe the worst performance he's had as a Zachary quarterback. He's had a lot of high moments, right? I mean, he's played tremendous, but you can tell by the way that he's kind of moving around the building this week that it's different for him. I mean, he's looking for a little revenge, and they know that they're going to get East Ascension's best punch here in week 1. So tonight, opening week of high school football, it's here, man. Hopefully the weather can play along and stay nice throughout the weekend for everybody to enjoy it out there. But they got some really good week 1 matchups here, and it started last night with U-High and Woodlawn. But tough opening night for the Panthers as University High really flexes last night. I believe it was 25-0. Was it 25-0 final score? So Woodlawn, I know that's not how they anticipated starting the season. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back after a week 1 kind of embarrassing shellacking like that. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at GoFlow, GEAUX Flow, IV.com, GoFlow, located over there on Jefferson Highway. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they'll save you 15% on your initial visit. Going to be a long weekend. If you're heading down to New Orleans, you're going to be at Lucy's. On Sunday, you'll be getting ready for the game, and you need yourself a little bit of energy to get ready for this long weekend. Go see our friends over at GoFlow IV, GEAUX Flow IV.com. GoFlowIV.com is where you can keep up with them.
I don't think that's an IV, Lord.
Oh.
That's
See the
his
commercial?
That's his weekend in New Orleans.
Hook me up.
Hurry up.
Put him down like a horse. It's okay, buddy. Close your eyes. Wake up in the studio on Monday.
What a summer for Brian Kelly and LSU recruiting. I mean, yesterday really kind of caps off
We
a
tried to tell you
run.
he's going to put a fence around the state.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, if you just
Told
listen to
you.
the show, I
Yeah.
told you he was going to dominate locally.
Yeah.
Duh. He's recruiting the state first and going national.
You know, a lot of the questions that when you go speak to the Rotary Club in Zachary yesterday, men's club last night at Most Blessed Sacrament, you know, a lot of them are aimed around name, image, and likeness on how LSU is staying competitive. And I think that this class is a clear indicator of how relevant they are. because I think there was concern. I know there was concern from my part after seeing the way that last year's recruiting cycle ended up for LSU, losing Denver Harris at the wire, losing Jacoby Matthews at the wire. And I know that they were not committed at the time, but I mean, that thing was closer than we believe it to be, right? Like LSU had real opportunities there, and if they would have been at least just a little bit of structured from name, image, and likeness, or just have the ability like they do now to have relationships with the businesses from within the program, then, I think last year would have ended different for LSU in recruiting. Danny Lewis, Jacoby Matthews, those are some of the guys. Denver Harris are some of the names that just kind of come early to mind to say
Aaron
that.
Anderson, Chaz Preston.
They would have been a part of this class, man. And yeah, sure, Aaron Anderson and Kendrick Law up in North Louisiana for sure. So, I mean, they had opportunities. And one thing it looks like they were able to do was get their stuff straight and form a plan and be able to go into this cycle with ammunition ready to have those conversations. I think that was the worst part from LSU standpoint, is that when they were told or when they were threatened or when they were, kind of just laid out what other schools were doing for certain recruits, LSU was just kind of like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how we can respond to that. And for some of the local kids, I think they were like, hey, just give us something. You don't even have to match the offer. Let's just work out a deal with somewhere along the way. And while they were trying to keep Kayshawn and keep Allie Gay and keep, go get guys out of the transfer portal, they didn't have that part of the operation really organized yet. And now,
done on a billboard though.
Now,
New York,
they do, right? And I'm just talking about from the football.
Oh no, but that just shows how
discussion.
it just shows kind of where they were in terms of the space of NIL and where they were trying to occupy and where it ended up turning into. They were going like, we're putting people that already have a platform up on a pedestal, as opposed to, oh shit, this has turned into a seedy situation in order to keep people on your team or go get people off another team, or now let's go get high school recruits. And so LSU eventually, I don't feel like they wanted to play that game, and you saw the teams that did, that got out early, and now you see LSU's probably found I would say not as of a seedy way to do it, but more of just a plan, plan of action. And that's all we were asking
now
for.
Now you've got strategy.
Right.
If somebody asks you, hey, coach, look, Texas A&M just left. They offered us this. Hey, cool, call this guy.
Talk to his daddy.
Yeah, right. Here's the
Call
phone
him daddy.
number. Here's the phone number you need to call to see how we can respond.
Yes. It's like a way it's like an offshore account.
Yeah, it's just turned into that. And this summer has been very fruitful for Brian Kelly and LSU. It started with Jaylen Brown, the 5-star wide receiver, who was, kind of on the fence. People didn't know where he was going to go. LSU and Brian Kelly had done a tremendous job. Kelly had a relationship with him back at Notre Dame and was able to close that early on in the summer. And then it went to guys like Caleb Jackson, a running back that it seemed like at parts during his recruitment, like maybe Texas A&M was trending. Maybe Alabama was going to get into it. But Frank Wilson, after a couple of meetings and a couple of sit-downs with Kelly, the family, everybody involved in it, it was all LSU. And maybe the city's, at least, no question, the city's best running back in Caleb Jackson, and right up there in the state, even though Trey Holly last weekend, my God. That
Both sides
kid,
of the ball.
He's played both sides.
Is he playing both sides? He makes every tackle. And he
Wait, who?
He
Trey
makes,
Holly?
He makes every tackle like Brady James. Like he's coming off the line of scrimmage, like jumping over the pile
We're
and
not going to
grabbing the
protect
running
this
back.
cat. We're maybe playing middle linebacker and running back. Is it 1996?
Which Union Parish 1A?
2A.
Is it 2A?
Oh, these are my people then. I understand. Never mind.
So
I get it. Yeah,
there's only so many Trey Hollies.
Hey,
bro.
Iron Man.
You know what I mean?
Get
Can
it
you make the
back.
hot dog,
Coach.
Cuz?
Yeah.
Can you kick too?
Yeah,
I bet he
right.
probably does.
Yeah.
You got a CDL license? Can you drive the bus?
Mr. Becker, shout out.
But, Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly, the best two running backs in the state. Last
Did
year
you
they
see-
lost The best two. What, Caleb Jackson?
Oh, my
He looks
dude.
like Ellie Broussard.
Oh, he's a
He turned around and shoved a guy facing the other way and then turned back around towards the end zone.
Brandon Turfield.
He went to go get that man. He didn't have any business throwing that man
That's
on the
last
ground.
night, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Frank Wilson's on the sideline.
They said he left the game with an ankle. Not Frank
Caleb
Wilson,
Jackson.
Caleb
Yeah,
Jackson.
sprain.
Yeah, little sprain.
I love the game.
Coach, put him on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like, actually, can you
Get
get
him
him to
here.
the dome by Sunday?
You got to play
You know
twice
what I
today.
mean? Like, I mean, he's the type of player that would play in this
Right.
game. But I mean, Caleb Jackson, Baton Rouge's best running back, top 2 running back in the state, is pledged to LSU, and this is on the heels of last year. You don't think that who's our boy from Lake Charles who went to Miami? Trevante Citizen, and
Relationships.
and our guy from Estruma,
Le'Veon
Moss, that went to Texas A&M, doesn't piss Frank Wilson off that the top 2 running backs in the state don't go to LSU. So you better, I mean, you could have bet everything. You could have bet your life on it that LSU was going to get the top 2 running backs in the state if they were SEC caliber type players the next cycle. And you could put your life on it that they're going to get the next cycle too.
Yeah, you got to feel pretty confident about the running back room with Frank Wilson.
So
and the state that you're in.
Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly are now on the boat after this summer. Then you put wide receivers. We mentioned Jaylen Brown, another 5-star here locally, Shelton Sampson, and pick up a guy in Kai Prion who's, can help you in a lot of different ways. Probably going to help you at wide receiver when he gets here, but it can also play different spots. You get Ricky Collins, the quarterback of the class. The offensive line class, to me, is really what's kind of going to put this thing into a different stratosphere for LSU. And not just because of this class this season, but really being able to do it from a back-to-back cycle standpoint. And that's, to me, how you build a program, is you build it from the inside out, the line of scrimmage out. I mean, LSU could leave their facility. These coaches can leave their facility. Jamar Kane, he's still so amazed by this. He's like, bro, I mean, you can go find players everywhere here. I mean, like, you have to get on a plane. You know what I mean? Like, he's been at Oklahoma. He's been at, those types of schools, Arizona State, where you're like, man, we gotta go to like Louisiana. We gotta go to Texas. We gotta go to Florida. We gotta go find some players. In Louisiana, I mean, you step out the building, you drive 30 miles any direction you want and go get yourself a 5-star running back, DB, wide receiver, linebacker, defensive lineman. I mean, just the ability to step out and get players right underneath your own nose is really what's going to be the difference for LSU. And now having back-to-back cycles where last year you get Will Campbell, Bo Bordelon, and Emory Jones, and backing that class up was the Lance Hurd, Tyree Adams, Mubanga out of Georgia, and they're not done. I mean, the DJ Chester kid looks like he's going to commit to LSU.
Back that class up.
Back that class.
And then on the other side, the defensive line was the strength at the beginning of like July, because they went on that stretch where they had like 4 or 5 D-line commits, straight 4-stars. So really, they're building it out from the line of scrimmage.
That's right. I mean, like,
that's the formula.
It's especially in this league.
Yeah.
I mean, in this league, you got to be able to win the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? If you can't play at the line, that's why I believe LSU is going to be in every game this season. That's why I think that that they're like, to me, they're blowout proof.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way that an offensive line that I see on paper, Alabama included, they're not shoving LSU around. You're not going to be, and if you can't control that part of the game, then you're going to have a tough time moving the ball. If you can't move the ball, you can't score. If you can't score, you're going to be in a tight game. And I think just for that reason, LSU is going to be able to keep the game at least tight, where they'll have a chance offensively if they can figure out who they want to play at quarterback and the offensive line can gel together and get some chemistry and figure it out. John Emery comes back, and now you've got this pecking order at running back that you can count on, and you know what you've got at wide receiver. They should be able to score. I mean, you would think if all of those scenarios kind of play out like that. I know it's football and it doesn't, it never really kind of rolls like you think it's going to tumble, but it's just projecting. I think it's not easy, but I think it's fairly. I think it's logical to think that they can get to 8 or 9 wins.
Yeah. It's what you're gonna. It's like I love the term blowout proof because that's, and we kind of said the same thing last year about LSU, and I don't want to say it turned out to be true, but it pretty much turned out to be true. Like they were in kind of every game. It wasn't pretty, and it didn't feel like LSU should have been in a lot of games because considering what we saw, like even UCLA week 1, you're like, oh, this is what it's gonna look like. But still, whenever they got down to week 3, week 4, week 5, you're in the Arkansas game, you're in the Alabama game, you beat Florida. It's like you beat Texas A&M. It's like they hung around for a good bit with no reason to do so other than talent and because of how the team was constructed on the defensive line. So now if you can match that defensive line with a competent offensive line that actually has some continuity and starters, and Brad Davis has been there for more than a week, like you can really kind of talk yourself into LSU being close in every game. That's what's the LSU money line.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I understand. I mean,
parlay them. I'm gonna do that.
But I just think that defensive line is going to keep you in every game. I just think that they got to stay healthy.
And you have to think the offensive line is going to be better than last year.
You would think so. Yeah, you would think so.
Just because we talked about continuity. At least they have people where it feels like at least assigned positions. They're not trying to rotate and find a group of 5 guys that works. It's
coming in and out,
Liam, can you play every position and snap the ball and go back to Harvard for the weekend? Like they're trying to, at least now it feels like, all right, we're rotating in the right way where people have kind of defined roles, and it may not be the starting 5. I mean, that never happens on the offensive line where you get the same starting 5 week in and week out. But if you can have guys that rotationally play in the same spot and have like genuine backups, I feel like that even helps as opposed to last year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And one thing about Brian Kelly in games that he is favored, going back to 2017, he's undefeated. Take that and run with it, buddy.
That's a great stat. Because, what you say, he's not a big game coach. That means that in games where he's not favored at Notre Dame, where they're usually always favored.
I don't know if it's big game or just the ones he's supposed to win, he wins.
And that's with that, and then the ones that, like, he wins, and that's how Notre Dame gets to that spot where it's like, oh, they're supposed to be able to play with Alabama, Clemson, and then they get there, it's like, oh, wait, no, they're not. Like, but they won every game on their schedule that they were supposed to win. They're favored. Like, it goes back to a little bit of how the independent and how Notre Dame scheduled. Like, they would pick and choose kind of who they wanted to play. But he still put teams on the schedule that 2 or 3 times a year was competitive, and they won those games.
Sure.
And then when you get down to the SEC, it's a little different. And he saw the talent on the other side. He goes, I want to go coach that.
Well, this game last year was probably the best game of Notre college Dame, football early season.
It's probably the best game Notre Dame played.
Oh, yeah. The Florida State Notre Dame game last year on the opening weekend was a phenomenal game.
God, man. It was just like this year. West Virginia Pitt, and then the Penn State game was just a riot. Mm-hmm. Sean Clifford was it's like he was throwing a ticking time bomb. He was like, how far can I throw it every play and see what happens? And he leads a game-winning drive on a great play design. But just the whole thing was electric last night.
Did you see the puke 6?
Yeah.
The guy runs the pick 6 back and then just hurls on the sideline.
For cameras Purdue. Caught it. Cameras, you can't get anything past the cameras now. But
you can't get anything past Barstool. They're just going to post everything.
Chunks.
Yeah, dude, straight like vomit.
That wasn't water.
That was like the pregame meal.
Yeah, it was a pregame meal. Or at least he ate the pregame meal too late. He didn't have the pregame
It's
dump.
An interesting color.
Oh, whoa.
Because it's not water. That's like...
Bring it to the screen, Stewie.
Make it full
screen.
Oh,
yeah, my bad.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Ooh.
Courtesy of Fox CFD.
Go back.
Oh. He knows it too, bro.
That's the best feeling in the world. Get that shit out of me.
But he knows
ready to play, coach.
The headshake.
I'll run down
the roll, baby.
The headshake after all you need to know.
That's me Monday morning.
Couple of snot rockets and I'm ready to go, bro.
Get me back in the
all
game.
out of me.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You go to the train. Like, you got a piece of gum. Like, bro, you smell like straight ass. Play my heart out.
Who was that Fournette said had the stanky breath? Was it Blake Bortles?
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah.
Blake Bortles got traded, and Fournette tweeted out, "We gonna miss your stanky breath, man."
Stank-ass breath in the huddle. And Blake Bortles came back and goes, bro, my breath doesn't
I didn't know I had stanky breath.
It's the first time hearing of it, bro. You could have told me on the side.
Remember our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, number 1 and a number 2 business. They have experienced carpenters on
Guess
staff.
it's like a number 3.
Which they can help you with your next industrial or residential remodel. They don't have a website. They got no social media, and you can get in touch with them directly by calling 225-776-2431. Mention the Culotta Show and save yourself 15%. 225-776-2431 is the number to get in touch with Jude Barker. We'll be back. We're going to talk to our friend Billy Embody coming up here in a couple of minutes.
Beard or no beard?
Embody. I'm going no beard.
I'm going no
season.
beard too. I feel like first game of the year.
Got his Sunday best on.
With it.
I thought so too. Still, it pulls them both off.
Tough for the guy.
Yeah.
So we will talk to Billy Embody.
Something right.
If you have a recruiting question, if you got an LSU question, if you got anything about this weekend's game you want answered from Embody, jump inside of the app, #AskBill, and we will get it across to Billy Embody before we get out of here. We're eating today, compliments of our friends over at Iverstein's. Josh is going to be here, giving us some tailgate options to look forward to going into football season. And then Nathan Valasquez in town. Going to be in studio with us.
Hey, dog.
I forgot he's a big LSU football fan. Probably
I'm a huge LSU football fan. Got to be
definitely
commuting down. He
definitely.
probably drove down from New York just to get here in time.
I heard
from
he's
the
going
kickoff.
to
That's
every
right.
game this year. He's just island hopping.
Right. And the Carpool Queen will be back here at some point during the 8 o'clock hour. Come back with us here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
I love LSU fans. Let's go, boys. Just hype us up. Everybody's convincing
helmet
themselves. No, tape face mask. Look at this thing. Great work, Stewie. Fucking strap me in, boys. Let's go!
Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacey, Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
Best athlete to come out of New Iberia, Mark Roman.
Kayshawn Buddha.
Kayshawn? Wow.
Right now, Kayshawn, and Mark was a little bit before me. I was a ball boy when Mark was playing at New Iberia Senior High School. I played like right after Mark, but Kayshawn just has done some things, and just the things that you guys are seeing Kayshawn do, that he's not even scratching the surface of what we saw on a day-to-day basis at practice. And he's unreal. He's unreal.
He's so natural. It's so so easy. It looks so easy to him.
Yes, it's so easy, and there's never been another a competitor I've ever seen like Kayshawn. Kayshawn would not lose going to eat pregame meal. He has to be the first. He is the ultimate competitor. He would not lose. So trust me, he will be ready.
Man, so kind of when I entered the transfer portal, I knew, what type of facility, what type of, program I wanted to go to. Being that before I committed to Ohio State, my first unofficial was to LSU.
Oh, wow.
And but that was when Coach O and Coach Raymond was here or whatever. But definitely the coaches, the scheme Kelly, trying to bring in, trying to implement, his way of going, like detailed person. that's where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be.
Did you have any experience with Coach Kelly?
No, I had no experience. No.
Really? Who was your main recruiter from LSU?
Sherman Wilson. Yeah, he was stay consistent. Honest. Just gave it to me straight.
Yeah.
And this is where I wanted to be.
How do you feel about that number at this university playing that position?
Yeah, man, I definitely want it. I definitely want to come in and prove, to my teammates, not just the coaches, but to my teammates that I got to go play with, that, I deserve it. And once I do that, then, everything is, up from there. Yeah.
We're all from different places and backgrounds.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
We've seen the BK takeover stuff from LSU and social media, and really in his short time in Baton Rouge, there's been a lot of people embracing his approach to building this roster. What's it like to recruit alongside him?
Oh, it's been great. Coach has been awesome to me because he lets me be myself when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to coaching. He lets his coaches coach, lets his coaches recruit. So I have no complaints on that end. And when I need him to get in touch with a kid, he's there for me. The communication line has been great. He's just been nothing but supportive.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. If you have not seen this run by Caleb Jackson last night, my God.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, play it. Our WBRZ had this last night. Here's Jackson versus Southern Lab.
This
ain't the South Baton Rouge Rams. Look at this, dude.
Dragging that carries him into the end zone.
Good God.
Oh, great spat job for.
Yeah. No, look good game right there.
And watch the stomp after. Just watch this.
Liberty's got great unis.
Oh yeah.
Look at.
Feeling
I'm here all night.
Yeah, keep this on. Get off me, son.
Mom's at the game.
Ooh, that's Leonard.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's Leonard Fournette, right?
Like
the
spin.
Even
the spin and not losing a step.
Yeah.
Like he's still as fast as he is. Good Lord.
Dude, kudos to 8 for going in there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a business decision.
Jeez, dude.
He tried,
That's what I'm saying. That was an attempt to, he tried to light him
Woo!
up. Yeah. He thought he had a shot at him.
One more time, just.
He ain't looking. He's not looking. You don't see me. Yeah, dude.
Coach, that's football porn right there.
This is Louisiana football.
Yes.
We're always going to have the backs.
Run through a wall.
It's all about the back money.
Speaking of recruiting, LSU on fire. They picked up a 5-star offensive lineman yesterday, Zalance Hurd. Our friend Billy Embody.
He'll be running behind him.
Over at On 3. They picked up a 5-star yesterday, too. They got Shea Dixon on the team over at On 3. Y'all are cleaning up over there, man. Y'all look like the Lakers, the early day Lakers. How's it going over there? Good morning. How are you?
It's great to be a part of a dream team. I mean, everybody wants to be a part of that. Yeah. So got Shay, Matty B, Peter. We got a great crew over there now. And look, I can sleep in a little bit. The guys got it. It's there,
They weren't sleeping in whenever Shay announced. My goodness, it sounds like we woke the man up, or he was still going.
I was shocked he stayed up till 12:01 to actually do it. I was like, this would be pretty cool. And if you guys, just do the, hey, is this thing on at 12:01? And sure enough, they did.
How big of a day was it yesterday for LSU picking up Zalance Hurd? What does this do for the class?
Man, just massive. I mean, top 5 class on 3 already, but, inches them just a smidge behind Georgia, I think, for that number 4 spot. And now it's kind of one of those deals where everything you get after this is kind of gravy. They have some key targets at defensive back still out there. They have, some flip candidates like a Derek Williams that they could swing away on. Jordan Matthews at Woodlawn they could swing away on. And then some offensive linemen out there and some defensive linemen too. So this whole class right now is just in a terrific spot entering the season. This is where you kind of want to be. You don't want to have your commitments and be worried about a lot of them. Not saying they'll all sign with LSU, but they, for the most part, are all pretty committed to this class, I would say, at least as of now. And then you've got targets that are really realistic for them to land. And so Zalance Hurd is that kind of punctuation, exclamation point on the end of the summer. I mean, this is a 6'6", 305-pounder who is just elite in so many ways. I mean, a really, really good athlete, moves well, bends well, has 36-inch arms. I mean, just a freak of nature, and he's just scratching the surface. He's only played offensive line last year and this year, so he's going into his second year of that at Neville. He's manning that left tackle spot. Now that Will Campbell's gone, he'll get that experience, which is good. I think he could, with the way his trajectory is right now, I think he could step in, right away at LSU and at least challenge for that right tackle spot, depending on how that goes this year. If Cam Wire really steps it up and is awesome, then maybe it's a year or so to hold him off, and Zalance Hurd could use that developmental time. But he's a very, very elite prospect. We've got him as the number 13th overall prospect in the entire country. He's locked in as a 5-star along with Shelton Sampson. Huge day for LSU, especially in the state of Louisiana.
The offensive line that Neville is putting out right now, because I know that there's another one coming up in future classes as well. I mean, Will Campbell's younger brother is the center on that line of scrimmage too. Just talk about that area of the state and how LSU has reestablished that. I saw Trey Holly had an enormous start to his senior season as well.
Yeah, I think North Louisiana is just as important. I mean, the whole state. And Brian Kelly, I think, really hit it well when he started this conversation back in and at SEC Media Days, kind of unprompted, where he said, we have to go all over the state and find these guys and make sure that the ones that have slipped out don't slip out anymore. If that means going to Monroe, to Shreveport, to Bunkie, to Maine, you could go all over the state. They've got to make sure they keep them at home. But specifically North Louisiana, I think it has some underrated talent, even though we have Zalance Hurd as, the number 13th overall player in the country. They just seem to find a way to have some of those guys that not necessarily get the respect they probably end up deserving. Devin White was playing running back, linebacker. I mean, Tre'Davious White from Shreveport. They've just continuously churned out, really, really impressive prospects. Neville's on a tear. A.J. Allen at Nebraska, I think, is going to be great. I really thought LSU should have gone all in on him late in the process. And, I just think that Neville program is just built to win. I mean, they churn out prospects. They've got a really, really good culture there. And I think Zalance has really leaned into that as well since he transferred in for Bastrop. It's a huge, huge area. They've got to continue to mine it and just turn over every stone. I think that's really important.
Billy Embody is a member of On3. Remember, you can hit him up on Twitter at Billy Embody, and you can also follow him there. Make sure and like, share, comment on this YouTube post. Billy, who do you like to start at quarterback for LSU on Sunday?
I mean, I'm a Nuss Bus guy to begin with. I've covered Nuss for forever, it seems like. I was at his first start at Flower Mound Marcus and watched him kind of grow. But I think Jaden Daniels is going to get the start, and I think that's probably the right move. Just you brought in Jaden Daniels. It seems like he's done enough to win this competition. I think Garrett Nussmeier's done a terrific job making it difficult on them, and Brian Kelly's kind of mentioned that. But I do think Jaden Daniels will take the first snaps. It doesn't mean that Nuss isn't going to have a great college career. I think he has the upside to kind of do that with his arm strength and just his fearlessness, quite honestly. But Jaden Daniels has some things right now that, with some maybe uncertainty on the offensive line, at least going into game one as far as how they'll perform, the ability to really move him and use him in some quarterback runs, maybe that gives the defense just a little bit more to think about. And just overall, I think he's done a much better job consistency-wise in the spring from what they've said. It sounds like his footwork's improved. So if he can take care of the football, I think it's probably the move to start Jaden Daniels.
Billy, last night high school football got going here in the state and locally. University High shut out Woodlawn, and they did that very impressive with defensive plays. They also did it with a swing pass to a young sophomore running back named Keelan Moses, who looked like his older brother Dylan in the open field last night as he was carrying the football down the sideline. How good is this University High team here this season? And tell me about some of the prospects that were on the field last night in that game.
Yeah, LSU is one of those programs that's already lining up for Keelan Moses. He camped over the summer. He camped at linebacker with Matt House. Sounds like things are in a good early spot with him. Long way to go. Can't even be contacted yet by colleges. That just started for the class of 2024 yesterday, but really, really impressive looking prospect. I think he's somebody that you want to see develop. I don't know if he'll get to that 5-star level just yet, just because it is so early. But he looks the part. I think he's a really good looking prospect. On the other side of the ball, with Woodlawn, you got Ricky Collins, LSU's quarterback commit, who was out there, was under a lot of pressure pretty much all night. Wasn't able to really do much. Obviously, got shut out. So he's somebody that you're looking for positive reasons to feel good about him. But that's a tough U High team to face. They're really, really good. They've got some guys every year. It seems like that they're able to turn out and really put together a good season. I like Marcus Dawson, safety, who's in the class of 2024. He really impresses me a lot. I think he's a sleeper in the state. I think once he gets out there a little bit more, he's somebody that we could see pick up some recruiting momentum in the offseason. Ricky Collins is over there at Woodlawn as well, and then Jordan Matthews, the Tennessee commit, is playing over there for Woodlawn as well.
Who are some of the players that LSU will be out watching? How do they use this weekend, Billy, where they can use this opening game in New Orleans? They can't have any contact, but they can have guests of LSU football, so can Florida State, on the sideline and at this game. How do they use that?
Yeah, right now it seems like a ton of commits are going to be coming in. You've got guys like Jalen Brown. I talked to his dad yesterday. He was all excited. Jalen actually doesn't have a game this week, so his dad was a little upset, let's just say, that he didn't realize that and get them on the plane a day earlier for a little good time in New Orleans. So, those are going to comprise a large amount of the group. A lot of the commits are making it in. Weeks confirmed that he's coming in. Jawan Johnson, the 2024 LCA athlete, is going to be there. He told me they've got a large group that they're trying to get down there to the Dome. And so the Southern game next week, it sounds like it's going to be a huge recruiting weekend as well. So LSU's off to a good start as far as the visits go. As far as the coaching staff getting out and seeing some of these kids, TBD. Still trying to track that down. It's kind of been a little up in the air, I think. First game, they're probably going to stay local if I would guess, but they can use that extra night if they get some guys out on a little PJ to go a little national without a game on Saturday to prepare for if they would like. And I think just kind of watching Notre Dame in the past, that's something Brian Kelly's staff has done, is gone out nationally on Friday nights and Thursday nights and gone out and done recruiting trips, which we did not see that under Ed Ogeron pretty much at all outside the bye week. So I think that's important to do. I don't know if they'll do it for the opening game, but that would be the move I would make, at least, unless you're so.
Don't you worry.
Billy, tell me about Mason Taylor, the tight end, and what you knew about him in recruiting, and how much of an impact you expect him to have here this weekend in his first collegiate game.
As far as impact right away, it sounds like he's going to have a big one. I don't think Brian Kelly owes Mason Taylor, or quite honestly any of these guys, to really talk them up without any good reason. At least from my vantage point. But he has made a point to really talk up Mason Taylor, which says a lot about the camp he's had. game one against, another huge opponent in FSU, we'll see how he, adjusts right away. But the staff is high on the work he's done. I think in that tight end room, it makes a lot of sense for him to at least be, somebody either 1A, 1B right there with Cole Taylor. I mean, just probably a better athlete than some of the other guys in that room. And physically, he's been this way since high school. He's kind of been ready to go. He's been a big tight end, not necessarily somebody that flashed in the passing game at SDA in South Florida. But, I think with the bloodlines of his dad being Jason Taylor, that's obviously helpful. He did move around well. He camped for his offer in a private workout and earned it when Coach O was still there. His recruiting process was kind of weird because he took, a bunch of camps and it was kind of a mixed bag. And I don't know if he was maybe, fatigued or whatever, but we saw some big offers and then some schools say, you know what, we're going to be fine. LSU stuck with him the entire time. He had a huge breakout game his senior year to start it off, and then it was kind of quiet. And I don't know if that's STA not involving him. I don't know if that's teams taking him away. It's hard to determine some of those things throughout the process, but he flashed that in game one, and he, had the chance to, really have a productive year after that. Didn't as much, but then ended up sticking with LSU and throughout the whole process. So kind of a weird recruitment in a way, but I know LSU needed tight ends. He made a lot of sense to keep and hold on to just from his size and bloodlines. I mean, that's always a good sign. So it seems like he has just taken everything right in stride since he's gotten to LSU. And, I mean, expectations are high, and Brian Kelly didn't have to do that and set those expectations, but he has.
How do you see Sunday night playing out?
I think LSU's the more talented team at quite a few positions. I think the defensive line, if they can play within the scheme while also applying pressure, Brian Kelly kind of talked about that last night on his radio show in terms of not going, all out on a pass rush. You've got to pick your spots when to contain Jordan Travis, but also you have to be able to take your shots at him and try to get him off his rhythm and create pressure situations where they can get after him. I think if they do that while not allowing him to kind of run wild a little bit in terms of extending plays, I think that'll kind of, really settle this LSU defense in, allow them to make a lot of plays. I'm interested to see the secondary and how they match up. This is a group that has all come together and communication has to be on point, but sounds like they're pretty high on, how that's going to work out. If the offense takes care of the football, I think LSU has the playmakers to get it out quick, get it moving, get Jaden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier's feet wet in this new offense, and go from there. I'm not so sold on the run game for LSU just yet. I want to see how the offensive line does, but it's a big opportunity for Noah Cain and Armani Goodwin to really stamp their mark on the offense early on with John Emery out. This is going to be a big game for those guys to kind of take those carries against a good opponent. They've got to be productive, take some of the pressure off these quarterbacks, and the receivers are talented, but they got to have time to get it to them. I do think LSU is going to eventually pull away. They're going to settle in. They're probably going to be hyped. The Dome is a pretty good place for LSU for the most part. So I like LSU in this one. I haven't figured out a final score yet. Probably something like 31-24.
Take the over, according to Bill.
I went 35-24.
35.
Wow.
We going $5?
I thought you took the under too.
Got it right here.
Oh, you got a sheet?
This is
Stewie
all of our
sheets?
scores.
Bill, you going to the Dome?
I'm not. I'm actually watching Deshaun Womack and Michael Van
nice.
Buren on Saturday night in the Dallas area. So watching an LSU commit in action against another really, really good team in DeSoto.
Enjoy the weekend, bro.
He's just going for the SMU game.
No.
Couldn't be me.
Enjoy the weekend, brother.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. There he is. Billy Embody checking in this morning as he is reporting for On3. Remember, On3, check out all of the information over there at on3.com to keep up with the latest in recruiting. That conversation brought to you by our friends over at Edward Jones. Online, Daniel Newman, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. You can email him there for any of your financial advice you may be looking for. Daniel.newman@edwardjones.com, located in Central across from Stab. Stop in and see him. Tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. They can help you out if you're in the industrial space, if you work with Exxon, BASF, any of the plants down here in South Louisiana or along the I-10 corridor, wherever you are listening to this in the world. If you need financial advice, get in touch with Daniel Newman. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. Have you seen this run by Keelan Moses yet? Billy Embody tweeted it last night, retweeted it last night off of Keelan Moses' Twitter account. This is Moses in the backfield last night for U-High. This is a sophomore standing and playing running back.
That's unbelievable.
Fake it to him and just
Wheel
dump it out to him and get off and go, boy.
Going.
Look at this cat running downhill. Look how fast that kid is.
Woodlawn has legit track guys.
Oh, 3 can go.
Yeah, like he's
look
legit track kid.
Look at him in the uniform.
Woo!
That is sex appeal.
Look at that.
The dreads, the back plate, the sleeves.
All of it.
Oh, my God. You didn't have to play.
Keelan
like,
Moses,
I'll just take
buck.
my chances and draft him. Look at that. Oh, let's locate. Let's go.
Don't screw it up like your brother did, man. Come to LSU. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Alabama ran him into the ground. Ruined his career.
Offerings for the ladies too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP, and Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculottashow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the Capital Region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com. We love the crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Chef Shane and his crew dropping off the meals every Monday here to FM Digital Media, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner. Me or the crew's going through our meals over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Their weekly pre-order, freshly made meals, or you can walk into the cooler over there on Airline Highway. They have that fresh, same service over there at Fresh Chef Eats. FreshChefEats.com is where you can find them online. Fresh Chef Kitchen. Tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy? Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet, a show within the show because our boy's back in town here. And we got the thespian Josh, the big handyman, barbecuer, tailgate provider, and bundle guy. Our meat man, Josh from Iverstein's, is here, and him and Nathan are just kind of geeking out over movies.
I thought you were calling me the thespian. I thought you were setting me up for that. And I was like,
that's not right.
I thought he was calling you the meat
You're
man.
the director. Yeah, he's your main character.
Well, and he was just saying that you're an actor. I also, when I saw Scarface in Miami this last weekend, I was in a movie with Stephen Bauer. The guy, the friend, like the friend in the movie.
Wait, so Nathan, you saw Scarface in Miami at a drive-up theater?
No.
It was a rooftop theater.
That's cool.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So it's like, you know those silent discos you can go to? Everyone got the headphones on.
Yeah, it's like that, but just with cocaine. Here, this isn't popcorn.
That
is Lloyd here?
Yeah. I got the jumbo.
Yeah, it was like it's a rooftop setup. They're bringing you cocktails. You've got like
I bet.
So you can't actually see, you can't hear anything if you kind of get to take off the headphones. So it's wild, but it feels some scenes. It's kind of like when you're on a plane and you're watching, something like you're watching Joker on a plane, and then you get to the scene, the game, the talk show, and it's like there's 15 people behind me. They can all see what I'm watching. Watching Scarface on a roof with buildings around, you're like, is anyone watching us? I feel awkward now watching this movie with everyone being able to see out of their windows.
Chainsaw scene.
Yeah, I forgot how terrible.
Children around.
I mean, that's right by where you were.
Yeah, they turned into a CVS now. It's a CVS.
Oh, really?
Feels a little weird, but it's still a wild movie. I forgot how wild that
Another
is.
quick look, she love me in the morning.
Yes.
Who's the bad guy?
Nice. The scene in the restaurant is one of my favorites.
You need people like me.
Yes.
That's how unhinged he gets. I forgot how unhinged Al Pacino goes.
So
to that.
It's
Can you take me to where Pacino was he established?
Yeah, so
yet?
that's mid '80s. So he was nothing. And we talked about The Offer a lot on here, and he was like nothing indie actor before The Godfather,
sure,
which is early '70s. Godfather's huge success. Godfather 2 comes out, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this? Like some huge, big budget, stylish mafia movie? It's not action. It's not like an art house movie though, but it's kind of got all that in there." And Al Pacino's just seen as this like titanic force all of a sudden. And after that, he does have he's got a few, roles which
misses?
are like, Yeah, not even so much misses, just kind of like, he's did pretty well, but he had like 10 years of, nothing really, although I guess Serpico, you got that in there, who's really good there,
Yeah,
Dog
Serpico.
Day Afternoon, so he did, like, every now and then, but I think it was Scarface was the next role where he became like an icon with that. I feel like those are the two. You've got Michael Corleone and you've got Tony Montana. Maybe his character in Heat, I don't know, but I feel like those are the two where it's such a weird range, but he nails it, and it's so weird, and he's so evil. He's so evil in Scarface, but you like him.
So he's so easily evil. Like it's nothing to like it's as if he just wakes up and he'll kill you.
Like, it's business.
He gets to Florida and he's like, so nobody's got balls here. Like I'm the only one that's got the balls to shoot you in the face and stab you in the back and go and this guy, he's getting cut up with a chainsaw and he's just standing there kind of like, oh, man.
And that's when he's like a young criminal. That's when he's trying to prove himself.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the one thing that he had to do, and he kind of broke his way in there. And
it's really a bad look for cocaine. Bad interpretation of what the drug is. It really probably is in like every PSA ever.
But done responsibly. A portrait of what Miami was in the early 80s.
What a bathtub.
It looks the exact same, like that, what is it, Ocean Drive? All of the hotels look the exact same, like same signage. It's wild. It's very weird.
Very cool.
Still to this day, if I can get my money right, I would build a bathroom like he has, the bathtub.
Oh, absolutely.
Where he's
I could kind of see you with
that
that
is in
same
the
type
80s. He's got the remote in his hand.
Look at the pelican.
Look at the pelican. Fly away, pelican, fly away. I mean, that bathroom scene. The carpet right outside the tub.
Makes it all worth it. If I have to cut up a man
who do I have to kill
live
for
like this? Yeah.
Right.
How many people did you have to kill
the way
for
that
this?
him and Michelle Pfeiffer are just so effortlessly cruel to each other.
It is.
It's like, what is going on? They keep talking about like, they're better than Frank. Still better than Frank, right? So mean.
I mean, and you knew. Nobody saw that ending coming. I would imagine. Like he was going to go silently into the night, right?
And didn't Scarface? Go ahead. Talk on the ending.
No. Oh, the ending.
Yeah, Scarface, I thought he was going to absolutely put his hands behind his back and leave, right?
No, but like that it's wild how quickly it just goes. It's a 3-hour movie, and it's like the last 20 minutes, it just goes totally off the rails.
Rocket launchers.
It's almost like you can see that the whole movie, he's very methodical about what's going on, and then he breaks the rules that Frank gave him, gets high on his own supply, all that stuff, and he just tanks everything. He's telling everyone, we're going to war, and like,
with who?
His bodyguard's like, okay, all right, that's fine, and oh man,
I guess, man. But didn't Scarface for a while? Wasn't it a flop? Like, didn't it not come to popularity until like later?
I think it did well whenever it came out. There was a lot of controversy around it because it was so violent. There was kind of like a moral panic at that time of like, what are movies doing? Are they, corrupting the youth? All this stuff. So I think it did get success. At the time, it wasn't like this is going to be one of the defining movies of the decade.
It has posters on every frat house wall.
Everyone I knew had one.
Everybody, it's
I think
everywhere.
the next movie to kind of get that type of status was Pulp Fiction. Like you see everyone with the shirts and the posters and its costumes.
The
and
two girls kissing.
What is that from?
That's a poster, college posters. That's the one that's always, it's like the black and white when you're like, oh, you have that poster?
No, but not Pulp Fiction.
We're just talking posters.
Lloyd,
You're still on the poster. You're still on someone's wall.
Back on the show.
What scene was that?
You guys see this? Look at this thing.
He's still sitting at Montana's desk.
I would say that's probably bigger though. That poster of the one side is just solid black, then solid white, him right in the middle. That might be. It's probably bigger than the Pulp Fiction poster.
No, it's iconic.
It is.
Yeah,
it's iconic.
It's become a whole other thing. It's got like inspired so many songs too.
Remember Cribs? Remember MTV Cribs, where they would let you in movie star and athletes' houses? That was the first time you were like,
"Oh yes,
this Scarface is everywhere."
Everybody has it.
Like everywhere, people had Scarface memorabilia,
and it still just looks cool. Like it feels like the '80s still, but like it in a way hasn't really dated. Like the interiors, all of the design that's going all throughout that movie. Like you still see it, it's like, damn. Like you said, I'd love a bathroom like that. I would love for my office to look like that.
No,
desk and all.
Needs a little boxy head.
You want to go to war?
Al Pacino says his nose.
I think I do.
He says his nose is still fucked from that movie.
Really?
He said that like I think 10 years ago. He's like, it's not.
See, if
bad,
he just would have done
but
normal
something's
cocaine.
been off ever since that. And he said it was B12 we were snorting. It was just B12. And I was like, right, it was just B12.
Right.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
How do they do that on movie sets?
They say it's it'll be powdered milk or vitamins is kind of what they do whenever it's supposed to be above board. But hey, look, I'm not.
I mean, like in a movie like Blow,
Yeah.
where they looked like they were blown, like the room looked like they were
on it,
partying.
It very well could have been. I mean,
right.
Movie sets are not being
right.
policed.
Right.
You're not having like the executives come down and see what you're actually snorting. If an executive's there, they're probably bringing stuff. Exactly. It's kind of like an airplane. The old woman just kind of like sneaking it.
Damn, I'm tired for those 3 a.m. shoots. Yeah. Go see Ross in his trailer.
Actually, Ross needs to see you.
Comes out. We can keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. Let's go.
Woo! Going through tomorrow, boys.
Cut. Go again. This didn't cut.
All right, Nate. So back from Miami. What you working on now, man? Seems like this is your time of the year, right? Is this when business kind of gets moving? For
No,
you?
right now it's big. Work with a lot of Hall of Fame, so there are a lot of banquets going right now. So we just got a whole bunch of induction videos that we're rolling through. Actually, just start with Chicago and Chicago next month to direct their so Chicagoland Sports Hall of Fame. Go like them on Facebook, all that stuff. Little promo there for them. They've got their banquet next month. Marcus Allen is going to be inducted. So yeah,
My
your
favorite.
guy.
Yeah,
My favorite.
There you go.
Hashtag Ask Nate. Jeff and Kenner wants to know, have you watched Sandman, the Manti Te'o documentary on Netflix?
I have not seen Sandman. Honestly, I don't know if have y'all seen it? I haven't really heard.
Is that what it's called?
Is it called Sandman?
Isn't it the Neil Gaiman, based on the Neil Gaiman book or something?
The Sandman is a separate.
Maybe
show
that
from
was
the
two
Manti
different
Te'o.
questions.
Those are two different.
No, that is.
Yeah.
I think that is.
Two
So
different
no, I have not
questions,
seen
yeah.
the Sandman. I have heard about this Te'o documentary. It sounds pretty wild. I'm not totally
good.
sure what's the angle, but I hear it's pretty crazy.
What's the name of the series?
Untold.
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 Wait, do you know the story?
Untold.
No.
So
Oh
he
my
was
God.
the first catfished on social media.
Except he was a
But like he was a superstar.
He was a Heisman
You know, he was
Trophy,
like he was
the
a
best player in
superstar college
football.
football player.
And it ruined his career.
It ruined his career.
Because,
I wouldn't say
It didn't really ruin it.
Oh.
Second
I wouldn't
round.
He could have gone a
Did
lot
it become
like,
part of
things would be
his
different.
brand?
It's definitely a part of his story.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is his
Definitely a part of
story.
his
Well,
story.
people thought like there were some lies in there, but he didn't really know what was going on. And I mean, so it looked
It's
really
wild.
bad on him. For a
Okay,
minute.
so was it just that
crazy.
he was catfished, or did he not react well to it?
Well, he
Well,
had like a full
let
special.
He let
He
it
let it go a
go
little too
by
long.
not telling the truth once he found out.
Because he was embarrassed.
Because
Oh yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like,
Right.
was it? It's
And
there's
he
the
was-
problem, and then there's how you react
Yeah.
to
He
the
was
problem.
in such
Yes.
a lose.
It was all playing out very
scenario because
publicly.
he was the most popular college football. It would have been like Joe Burrow getting catfished.
It would have been like
It
that.
would have
You know what I
been.
mean?
Yeah.
And the catfisher said,
I tried.
died. Like said she died. And it was all set up.
Oh
So he thought his girlfriend died, like the same night that his grandmother did, and it was
Wait,
awful.
I think I might. Did he like have?
You remember it? I mean, you would
did
have
he have
heard
like
about
a
it.
fake? Wasn't there like a fake voice recording that he put
It
out?
was
Yeah.
her.
It
Like
was
she
Dr.
was the
Phil.
voices for like her whole family. Like it was bizarre. It was the weirdest catfish you've ever seen.
Tangled
in your life.
web she weaved. He
That's-
weaved.
She really
they
did.
So
weaved.
this
And
is
then she
series or
died.
like a movie
It's
documentary?
a series
Okay.
that
It's like 3 episodes.
Untold is
Okay.
telling
Two.
different stories, and the latest one is what Noah just told us. I'm going to watch today is the Tim Donaghy story about how he was refereeing and throwing basketball games gambling.
That's out
Oh,
now.
That came out
Yeah,
last
last
night.
night.
Oh,
damn.
And I'm going.
those
I mean,
are
I'm
good.
watching
That
that one
is
today.
good.
See that being in that type of situation, I feel there was that soccer player, I think from Colombia in the 90s, who got an own goal and then they killed him whenever
Yeah,
he got
Pablo.
back to Colombia. That feels like that type of thing. Like if you're a ref throwing games, I'd be scared for my life
my God.
if that got
Yeah.
out.
Oh my God,
Man.
it would be a killer.
Is he living out like publicly?
What's that?
Is he like out in the public, Tim? Like
Yeah.
he's not like Whit Pro or anything?
I don't.
Wow.
Does it tell that story, Nathan? I mean,
Noah?
Noah.
I don't know, Jordy.
He's just chilling?
Wow.
What the balls on that guy?
I'm telling
Good
you, right?
Lord.
He
I love-
goes
how he
full
made
Tony
it out.
Montana.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean,
He goes full Tony Montana, like he's out there, like he doesn't give
Yeah.
a shit. Like
Yeah,
I did.
right.
Hey, I made my money. You try and make yours.
yeah.
Did you want to go to war?
You know what I do. We can do it your
All
way
right,
or my
Nathan.
way.
What are we breaking down at the 5-minute critic?
So I think the biggest thing right now today it's Friday. So last night, Amazon released this new Lord of the Rings show cost $1 billion to make the most expensive show ever produced. And I think it's just going to be like, is anyone going to care?
Mhm.
We'll see if anyone is like really into it. Online, this thing is ratioed to high heaven. Like
I heard it was beautiful.
It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. I think there's kind of casual, Lord of the Rings people that are like, I'm gonna watch this. This looks awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. And then you've got the like
Super nerds.
Tolkien loyalists who are like, what is this? Why do we have 10 hours
T-Bob.
of content based on? I don't know where he would be on this, but
Really?
Who?
But it's like
T-Bob.
Oh yeah.
I think we've got like 10 hours based on like an appendix of information. So they're kind of like, how dare you? But it's like, there are fan bases where it's like, who really cares if they don't like it? But like Tolkien fan bases are millions. I think there's something like, I don't know, those books are just sell like almost in the billions. Like they're huge. So we'll see if it's worth it. But I mean, $1 billion
You're not into it. You're
for
like,
this
ugh.
TV show. No, that's the thing.
I'm not either. Like,
Well,
oh,
that's the
God.
thing. I'm not that excited about it. I feel like they've put so much. Whenever you feel like they're pumping so much money to promote something, but it's like,
Yes.
where's the love really? Like, it doesn't actually feel like it feels like a marketing play. Amazon can do this, lose out, not get any attention, and they'll just write it off. What is $1 billion to Amazon? It's just weird. It's
Just
weird.
lost to Billy.
Exactly. It's kind of like just to show, oh yeah, we can buy this, we can make something into it. Like it feels, there's something to it that feels a little cynical about that I
Yeah.
don't. Amazon's just like, we can do this. so
I
we'll
want to
do
buy
it.
that.
Yeah.
They would
Do what with it? I don't
Whenever they
know.
were writing the show, though, they were
People seem to like it. It cost $1 billion.
Yeah, I'll take
I've
it.
got it.
They were writing the show in an armed room. The writers were the only ones
What?
allowed in armed
Get over
security men
yourselves.
around the room. You had to have a fingerprint in order to get into the
Why?
room.
That's a shit.
It's Amazon. It's
how they
Amazon.
work over there.
That's
And you
how they
produce
wanna do
this
it.
shit?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
This is what we got for this?
Jeff Bezos
Kill
just
him.
kind of walks
Yeah.
and like, how are we going, guys? How are we doing? It's like, can we please go home? It's like, not yet. We can't go home yet, guys.
Did you
Not
get that?
yet.
It's Amazon Prime Day. Get to work.
Exactly. It's crazy. It's trying to get
you
this
hanging
off
out
my
and
Prime
eating?
Day.
You gonna eat?
Sure.
All right, sweet.
Uh,
Josh from Iverstein's, yep.
Nate, did you see that the director for Game of Thrones actually quit before season 2?
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What was the?
I don't know. He just quit. He's up
Wait,
and
of the
quit.
new one?
Like
Yeah,
new
the
game
new
or
Before
something?
episode 2 or season 2?
Before season 2. They just had season
Bezos.
1.
Yeah.
I don't remember this guy. Done with this guy.
That's
It's
crazy.
HBO, though.
He
Sorry.
decided
Yeah.
to step down.
I wonder what's going on there. That it seems like the show's doing pretty well, and to leave an HBO production,
know.
that's.
Hey.
I mean, that's where they make the good
I
stuff.
Who's
can't
the
get
writer
into
of
that
that
show
show?
though either. Like I loved Game of Thrones, but I'm not interested in like keeping on going. Kind of like the Lord of the Rings.
I
thing.
was with that honestly with the main Game of Thrones show. I was catching up for the last season, and then it ended. I was on like season 4, and then everyone hated it, and I was just kind of like, well, I don't really feel like watching
Yeah.
the next multiple hours if everyone hates how it's going to end.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Really?
It
Yeah,
is.
it's awful.
Wow.
But who wrote the books?
What's
R.R.
your-
Martin?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe this one we got a new script coming? R.R. Martin penned a little something.
The
Finally.
the South Park of George R.R. Martin. Have you seen that
So
episode?
good.
It's
It's
so good.
so
He's like,
good.
just stay right here. The pizza's on the way.
So good.
Speaking of pizza, we got food on the way next. Josh from Iverstein is going to pop in. We'll be doing our Foodie Friday segment. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Dead Soxy. Katie, tell them about the
Use
promo
the
code.
code Jordy and get up to 35% off of your order. They usually ship overnight, so you can get your purple and gold socks probably by tomorrow or Sunday.
Got 'em on right
Timmy
now.
has them on. The athletic socks are fire. I ordered them for everybody in my family, and the kids complained about them because they didn't have the Nike swoosh on them, and now it's all they're like, we've never had socks like this in our life. Like seriously, I was shocked that they were on board with it, but they're that good. Got to get you a pair.
Nathan,
You can beat out
somebody
Nike from a
asking
kid. That's
about
strong.
what's going on with Olivia Wilde right now. Do you know anything about
She
this?
seems like she might. Well, she's coming out with that new movie, Don't Worry, Darling, that she directed, which looks pretty cool. Kind of like a Stepford Wives, Get Out type of horror movie. But she's putting a lot of stuff on. It feels like she might be sharing a little too much on social media. You know, the type of way where it's like, there's the vulnerable type of I'm being myself, and then there's like, I don't need to know everything that's going on with the divorce and all that stuff. I don't know, but hey, maybe it's just the stress of a new movie coming out. I don't know. I don't know what the newest, if there's something new that happened that kind of tuned out the social media drama in the last week.
We're eating next. Compliments of Iverstein's. Come back with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
I ended up at a lunch yesterday with 3 suits from WAFB.
In the J's?
In the J's, in the hat, in the T-shirt. I thought I was going to meet 1 suit, and we actually showed up to the same restaurant that 2 other suits were eating at. We all conjoined table and had an executive lunch with everybody from WAFB. A lot of good return on the show early on. A lot of good feedback. They think we ought to start fining for cursing in the first hour.
Fining who?
Fining for whoever does it.
Like fining each other?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a swear jar?
A swear jar.
Okay.
It's tough.
7 a.m. between the 7 and 8 a.m. hour.
It's Lloyd that would
That's
have
exactly what they said.
So
That's exactly what they said. The suit said. He said, Lloyd pushes the envelope on the cussing thing we've talked about. Hey, how's the show? We're all kind of like passing the bread, you know what I mean? Like early, like I'm just trying to fit in at this table. They're like, oh yeah, the show's good. What's the guy in on the couch? What's Lloyd? Is it Lloyd? Guy? Yeah, Lloyd. What about him? He sure does push the line on the cussing thing, doesn't he? Which, by the way, there's no rules to our contract at WAFB that states that, we can't cuss at a certain time or, we've got to change the show at any point. There's been no discussions of changing anything that we do from WAFB. And the nucleus of LSU's team has to be from Louisiana. You can look up every championship run, and the nucleus of all of those squads have been from the state. You've always had outside influences, whether it's been Brandon LaFell or Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? Like, pick the one that you want to bring in. But there's always been that one big time player. I think that the weekend that LSU had this past weekend, where they brought in like Ashton Stamps from Rummel, who's a DB from New Orleans, 3-star guy, but you've seen his recruitment really start to pick up. But then when you look at what they did outside of the area, and look, I'm big on guarding the state. Get Louisiana first, and then build your class outside of that. But if you can go into other states and you can take, states' best players, like LSU did over the weekend. Jackson Howard's the number 1 player in Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have any football. I get it. I get it that they don't have the traditional football, players, high school programs that Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia do. But if you can go in and take somebody's number 1 player, who was it? Tayshawn Bowers a few years ago, the big stand-up defensive end who was out of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. He was the number 1 player out of New Jersey. That recruiting cycle came down here. Took him a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To catch on, but by his senior season, he was a problem coming off the edge. I mean, you look at this guy, Jackson Howard from Minnesota, right? Like, I mean, he looks like an SEC football player. His physique, his style, the way he plays. You look at a guy like Joshua Mickens. Mickens is the number 1 player in the state of Indiana. All right, like Indiana football. You don't think of football when you think Indiana. You think basketball, right? But, I mean, you go in there and you take the top player who's a rush defensive end. When you watch the film, man, that guy looks like a SEC caliber type recruit, prospect. And LSU's able to get number 1 player in Minnesota, number 1 player in Indiana. Deshaun Womack, who we spoke to yesterday, a highly rated player in the state of Maryland. Deron Reed, who's a top flight player in the state of Georgia. I get going out and getting these elite players from around the country, and I think LSU has the brand to shop it nationally. But yes, I do believe that your core has to be from Louisiana. I think Dante Moore is the guy that they are waiting to find out what happens next. You're on camera, Lloyd.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think he's coming.
I really think that Ricky Collins is going to be the quarterback that LSU is going after. I really do. We had Denbrock through here. We had Joe Sloan through here. We've talked to Marcus Randall. We've talked to Rohan Davey. We've talked to people around Collins, and I think LSU feels that he's the one that they want, and he's the one that they can get at this point.
What did Marcus say?
That LSU needs to pick it up. I think that.
Oh, they're making up ground, I'm sure.
But look, Joe Sloan's done great with the quarterbacks. He really has. I think that Sloan is he is a relationship builder. He is a guy that understands and really embraces recruiting, and he knows that they need to sign a quarterback in this class, and Ricky Collins is an SEC caliber quarterback that LSU just they didn't have the relationship. The program didn't have the relationship built like it needed to be once Kelly and them took the job over. So they had to make up some ground. But I do believe that when it's all said and done, when it all shakes out, I think LSU is going to get a quarterback, and I think that it's going to be Ricky Collins.
I don't think you can. Well, yeah. R.I.P.
Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show.
Some people
driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We've already eaten our meal in the break, bro.
R.I.P. to that meal.
Jeez, we had this morning what from our friends at Iverstein's?
We had pork carnita enchilada. So these are our Tuesday special. Every Tuesday, come into the store, have a little lunch. It's be a perfect little Tuesday. Tuesdays are like that week. Monday we want to kick everything in the balls, right?
Sure.
Like we're gonna have a great week.
I'm getting it.
And then Tuesday,
the reality sets
this
in on
week is
Tuesday.
never good. Yeah.
What even is life?
Yeah. Come in and get a pork
Going back
enchilada.
to bed.
Yeah.
And the spices on that thing, incredible. That is so good. That is really good.
Wasn't it great?
Yeah.
Can you tell us how it was prepared?
How'd you do this?
How'd
We
you
use this
do it?
on a
What are the
tailgate?
secrets?
This is a tailgate.
Oh,
Sneaky
dude, a
tailgate.
tray of these?
This is a little tailgate thing.
Absolutely. You bring just
our
the
chef
tinfoil.
Kayla does all this work. She's amazing. This is also something you can get our grab and go cooler. So on the way in, hey, I don't have time. I'm gonna just quick stop from work and grab something to throw into the oven for the kids or spouse or boyfriend, or I got date night and I want to impress somebody, right? Come in and just get a thing.
Put your apron on and you pretend like you've been in there, splash a little sauce on yourself, like, oh, good, I made. Yeah.
Bathroom's on the right. Make yourself at home. I gotta finish these up.
So
I'm just shaving. Thought it would save time.
It might go against date logic of getting spicy food. But there's 3 nice enchiladas in each one for $8.99. So
what a deal.
I think a good deal.
Wait, are they
Pre-made
all the? But all the same flava?
Yeah.
No.
It's huge now.
It's
Really?
massive.
Serve lunch.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Wait, it's still same location?
It's in the counterculture.
Where is that?
Perkins Crossing Shopping Center. If you're on Perkins Road,
okay.
you're at the old spot on
Yeah.
Iverstein's, which is in between College Drive and Essen Lane.
Right.
Right. As soon as you were crossing over Essen, like heading towards Blue Bonnet and Highland down there, you would take a left into the shopping center right past Essen Lane, which is Perkins Crossing Shopping Center.
Okay.
And they're on the corner there. What's the sushi restaurant right next to y'all? Is it Sushiyama?
Sushiyama, there we go.
That shopping center.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
On
It's
the
like the
corner.
Fifth Avenue of Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Huge market. It's huge now. I mean,
Huge market.
It's
a
huge.
whole bunch of great things. I mean, barbecue sauces, spices.
That's awesome.
Breakfast.
When did y'all move? When did y'all make that move?
A month ago.
Oh wow.
It's fresh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
pretty
stop by
good.
there.
But we're fully up and running with daily special enchiladas on Tuesday, ribs on Thursday, pork shoulders, smoked pork shoulder steaks today. So we're always having.
What's going on with the bundles? The last couple of weeks you've been telling about the new things going on with the
we
bundles.
have a we you know how these things work. I'm not tech savvy,
Sure.
know? So I assume it takes a while because it would take me forever to try and code something and create a website.
Yeah, I could not do that. I'll
But
go
that's
to
where
Wix.
we're at. Everything's been approved. We're waiting for the coding. We're gonna our website will shut down one night after hours.
Oh, and then what?
Yeah, and officially,
and then the live stream begins.
And then they start to prepare the meat.
But
The meat's hard.
Start offering choices, so you'll have an account that you'll be able to log into, and then say, "Oh, I have this event going on," or there's a birthday or a gathering. I'm having people over, and all I want to do is something nice. Yeah, funeral.
This guy.
Yeah, the perfect time to strike up the pit.
Brought some hot dogs.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. There are people.
Uncle Gary loved hot dogs.
In the like video space, it's hilarious. There are some people that will be asked to film funerals. It is the weirdest thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to take.
No, that's great.
Yeah, you
Thank
said
you,
that.
Nathan.
It's
great to see Nathan back in Baton Rouge.
If any of you need a funeral filmed, is what I'm saying.
They didn't have to be dead yet. Capture the whole thing.
There you go.
Yeah,
captured up until the death.
And that's farm to table.
But how long did it take? I feel like getting the right website is just so much brainstorming, kind of getting it right, and then you're making the move, and it's such a big move that you kind of have to key into it like perfectly.
Yeah.
Like how long to kind of get to know exactly what you were going to offer?
So we'd you send the thing in, and then first, you ask the program, make sure that he can do it, that it's not going to completely, and so he, gives the approval of and then he comes up with his mock and sends it out, and then we get to kind of see him use it, and then we give the approvals, and then we have to do edits, and so just, of course, because no one likes sending out that email where you misspelled something you shouldn't have misspelled.
Sure. Yeah.
So, you put eyes and eyes on this thing just to make sure that we're,
Yeah.
I asked somebody about something. They asked me what they were wearing or something about wearing clothes, and I typed back WHERE.
Yeah.
Wearing.
It happens.
Wow. Did you put ING on the end?
I was so panicked and anxiety riddled. I don't even know if I used ING.
I sent out an invoice. Well, no, I sent out a quote one time, and I put it was for 2021. But I had 2020 as the date, and I saw that, and I was too rushed. I looked at it, I was like, "What is wrong with me?"
You're stuck in that 420 mode.
Right? I got to check in. So you're in what? I mean, what is it that you do?
Video production. So yeah, if a company, if a company needs,
we're here on the first date.
From like one video to if you need like an entire video department for your company to make just videos telling your story, whatever needs to be done to kind of get you out there. We haven't had a funeral request yet, but I might, probe, see if there's interest in the funeral market.
Still trying to crack the market.
Open casket only.
Are you dead?
Would you like to be?
Now it's just the ending scene of Wedding Crashers coming up where he, he goes to crashing funerals.
Yeah,
Now that's just the only thing in my mind. Mom!
Will Ferrell, that's his move.
It's actually kind of genius. It's like, oh my God, y'all are sick.
That's hilarious.
It's actually kind of genius. They're all set up.
How fired up are you for football season?
Oh man, I've
Did you
got a fantasy draft tonight. I've got one on Monday.
Nice.
Wow.
I had one last Sunday, which is really great. With
How
the
many
boys
leagues?
back home. I play 3 house leagues. I've got a dynasty keeper with like contracts and salary. We've been playing.
Your wife does hate you. Yes.
Yeah, we've been doing this thing for 19 years.
Whoa.
And we're spread out from like Arizona, Minnesota, down here in Louisiana.
So wait, tell me, like your team is built like on a salary cap, and you have to keep their contract within the cap that's created by who? The league?
The league. So if I have a draft pick, I put up a player for auction.
Sure.
I'm not involved in the bidding. The rest of the league goes down and puts the bids on the player. I get to decide then if I want to keep that player at that price or pass him to the highest bidder.
Pass the Dutchie.
And if I keep him, then I get him at that salary for 3 years.
19 years?
19 years.
Who's the longest running player on your team?
And then after 3 years, you get the chance to extend him for $3 per year, up to 3 years.
What's the pot? What do you win?
I mean,
It's sizable after 19 years.
Too big to even mention on air.
Dang.
Yeah.
How many players? How many teams?
14, bro.
Wow. Y'all are scouring.
Bro, that's the most intense fantasy football league I've ever heard of.
We've been playing it 19 years, and I started it.
So wait, 14 originals?
We started off with 10. And then we had 2 expansions.
League expansion.
I mean, we have a charter with rules of like what to do if we had an expansion draft when the new teams came in. You could only protect 6 guys on your team, and then the rest of the league got to pick.
This is insane.
What?
My God!
Just keeps like back rooms keep opening up. We're going deeper and deeper.
Hey,
What?
Come this way.
There's more.
If you're gonna play fantasy football,
Play fantasy football.
play fantasy football, which is funny.
It sounds like you live fantasy.
Who
football.
came up with
That's
who came up with the league?
I created it.
This is your brainchild.
Wow.
I played in I played in a fantasy baseball and basketball league.
Good Lord, how are you married?
And-
is the question.
Really?
Not that she hates you. How did you meet her?
She's in the league.
No, I don't know how. She understands now. I mean, I like
you slowly eased her into this, and it's like,
So
wait,
eased
what?
into it,
Let me
yeah.
tell you about the charter we wrote up back in 1999.
Blood oath.
Well, you know, I've only.
Jesus.
I'm surprised that she date for. You got to start dating in the spring.
No doubt.
You're on your computer a
Or
lot.
the winter time, yeah, like February after Super Bowl. Date all winter and spring, summer, and then it's like
She
when
doesn't
fall
know.
hits. You're like, oh, you love me too much.
The day after the wedding, it's like, there are a few things I need to show you that I'm involved
Well, I
with.
can't. Now I'm playing regular ones, which is great. You know, I play in regular fantasy
Now that you
football
said I
leagues,
do.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. Everyone has their thing. I know, like, magic cards and stuff like that are huge, and like those.
Don't try to make yours seem normal with magic as your comparison.
Magic or Dungeons and Dragons, like everyone's got like their fun, like board games.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. No, I like Yahtzee. Yahtzee's a good one.
Yeah,
I play that every now and then.
I'm in a 19-team Monopoly league. We
What
play
a
every
play,
Monday.
bro.
That's
What a
awesome.
play. So have you drafted that team yet?
I drafted it on Sunday, man, and I went in with a total rebuild year. I kept Joey B.
All right.
Good
Nice.
keeper.
I drafted him as a rookie, and I had Pat Mahomes, and I just traded Pat Mahomes for a first-round pick this year because I had Joey
Joey's
B.
time.
Only one
Joey's
first
time to
rounder?
shine. Yeah,
Oh, you got to
What'd you get returned from Mahomes?
a first-round pick.
Oh, you need.
I
need
didn't.
two.
I traded my first-round pick and everything last year for Kamara. I made a run. I finished second. I made a run.
Playing with your heart over there, buddy.
Yeah. Smart guy.
Burrow and Kamara.
That's
right. Well,
love
Burrow
that.
started one game for me, and it happened to be the one that he scored like 11 points.
Oh,
Is that why you was that in the championship?
No,
Or the
no, it was like
semifinals?
his like really off week where I'm like, man, didn't even like. I don't even think he threw a touchdown. I think I got lucky and he
Easy
ran
over
for
there.
one.
Easy.
Yeah. No. Oh, respect.
That's your quarterback you're talking
Easy.
about. I mean, you're the leader.
Well,
That's the leader of your
Sounds more-
franchise.
sounds more on the coach than the player that week.
That's right. That's right. But I went in total rebuild, thinking, grab young guys, whatever, and I like ended up walking out with Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill,
look at the guy.
Okay.
Isaiah Spiller, the rookie, James Cook out of Buffalo. Like,
That's what I got this year. Too.
yeah, I'm thinking, okay, I might be good for a couple of years. Maybe not this year.
I sullied myself and went. I had in the keeper league. I had Michael Thomas already, and me not being aware of how the fantasy really works, I ended up drafting Alvin Kamara and Jarvis Landry, and I'm like, I have Alvin Kamara, Jarvis Landry, and Michael Thomas.
Lloyd screwed it up for everybody.
Yeah.
This type of
Saints
year,
bye week.
Saints
Lloyd
bye
doesn't
week,
even.
yeah.
Lloyd's forfeiting.
I don't even set my lineup. Once it's done, it's done. It's in. It's gone.
I do, well, the big thing that people are doing, I haven't done one. I'd like to, because that's like when people are, getting professional or whatever. That is best ball. You ever heard of best ball?
Best ball.
Best ball.
I mean, I've heard about it on golf.
No, best ball fantasy league. So it's like all the rage because people are like that. They're like, man, I love like the best part is drafting, getting around, drinking beer, eating food. What you do is like a 20 round, and then the player you draft.
I can't name 20
You
players.
go into the season and it's the highest player on your team gets inserted into the starting lineup.
First round pick right here.
So you don't have to set any lineup because it'll automatically like take whoever is on your bench or whatever and just plug in.
Sounds like the FM digital media.
That's
Fantasy
the
league,
way
bro.
we would do it.
It's like you get the draft and then it's like you could just kind of check
Set
in
it and
every
forget
week
it.
or whatever. But yeah, best balls are really fun for competitions and just kind of whatever. Which is really
ideal.
Working on any movies right now?
I've sent in some auditions. It's really slow. We're getting geared up for.
Nathan, does this blow your mind that he's an actor?
That is what, like, yeah. So what type of porn of stuff? Oh, you're a porn actor. Okay. Y'all weren't joking about the swing.
Hey, you've seen my enchilada. It's not worth
I didn't know these were you.
It's very average, all right? It's very average enchilada.
But what type? Anything that we've seen you in?
Maybe, I don't know. Big one. I started out Hillbilly Elegy on Netflix.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was me with the mustache, cop bringing in the dog.
That's
Dog.
crazy.
That's slipping into character.
Yeah, that. I've done NCIS New Orleans, Claws. Did some Your Honor Showtime Network series.
So whenever you're auditioning, are you going to, or is it?
I did before.
Like you film yourself and then.
Yeah, before the plague started, I would go down to New Orleans.
The plague
or the pandemic. We would go down to the casting directors in New Orleans and stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, self-tape.
Yeah.
I've kind of kept on that thing, so I send it in. December, I spent a few weeks working on the Will Smith movie Emancipation.
Oh, that'll be
slapped him in
fun.
that
That'll
one?
be fun if that comes out. If that it sounds like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one was crazy because I'd never worked on a massive I mean, a massive budget.
Because that was like 150 million or something.
Yeah,
like,
and
that
it
was
kept
a big one.
I remember it kept going up as we were there, and we're doing this. It's a period Civil War piece, and we've got these massive farmlands up in just north of New Orleans, kind of on the border of Mississippi. Anyway, and literally cannon fire blowing shit up,
that's crazy.
It was just insane to be in all the pieces and amputees and they had 60 makeup artists.
Is this you?
Just no, that is not.
I was going to say. Lost a lot of
You're actually pulling up porn in this.
That's what you do.
This is from last
wait,
time.
so how did you feel? So you've got this movie that you're in with Will Smith.
Yeah.
How did you feel whenever you hear that Will Smith kind of put himself in a little bit of a mess with the Oscars and all of that stuff? Did you feel like, oh, well, now the movie, what's going on now with that thing? Or what were your thoughts on that? Was it kind of well, that movie's not going to see the light of day?
I called my lawyer and said, do I have anything for a civil case that this
I
man
think
ruined my career?
You call 5 minutes after. I think we've got a case. Let's go at him.
Right. He should have slapped me.
Yes. I did the same thing where I was like, God, why are we effing talking about this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get it. Violence is never the answer. Whatever, but I was just kind of I don't really want to be talking about this.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, I don't know.
A little boring?
Yeah, rich people problems,
Yeah. A lot of rich people problems.
Yeah. Not that it isn't interesting to have a take.
Has he gotten away from that?
I think it's probably going to just die out. I think that
he apologized to Chris Rock, right?
Yeah, and it felt a little it felt like he was he's trying. He did it. And I think everyone is just kind of let's just move on. There's other stuff to do.
Yeah, it's 2022, dude. Yeah. Eventually everything goes away. There's just a new thing that'll happen.
I think he needs to stop talking about it. If he wants to do well, I think he needs to stop talking about it. No more videos about you and all the apologies and everything. It's just
everyone move on. I thought the funniest stuff was the snippets out of Chris Rock's because Chris Rock was on tour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he did a show 2 days later in Boston. It was he said, I'm not going to talk about it, but the little snippets that people come on and be like, oh, he opened with a joke.
Yeah.
He was like, well, I had a rough weekend or whatever, and everyone kind of knew oh man, this is going to get good, and he would kind of blow past. But I thought that was more interesting.
What was wild was that 3 weeks later, a guy tried to stab Dave Chappelle on stage.
That's right.
Yeah,
and everyone was kind of like, did that happen because of the other one happen? Are we just going after comedians now?
Yeah.
That was crazy that one.
They had that whole thing, now where it's that's comedians kind of defense of well, now it's comedy, and if you now we're just kind of fair game. So if I offend you, you have every right to come up and physically assault me,
right?
And so they're kind of that's really why they needed to stop the thing with Will Smith, because then essentially by not doing anything, they're saying it's okay to go up and bitch slap a comedian. You know what I mean? And it's I guess. But I don't really see that correlation. But I hope not.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably done. He's gonna get his movie. It's gonna come out. It's gonna be a big thing.
It's gonna come out. Yeah, no, it was still great for me because I grew up with Fresh Prince and it wasn't summer for a while. In my youth, it wasn't summer unless Tom Cruise or Will Smith put out their Independence Day, Men in Black.
Did you see
Welcome
Maverick?
to Earth.
What's that?
Did you see Maverick? Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Most people do. I think it's nostalgia. I'm gonna go back a second time and be like, was that actually good?
Oh,
I think it was.
Well,
actually
here's the
good.
thing. I think I was so mad because I found out they're remaking Roadhouse, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm floored. And I think they're gonna start they're gonna do one with Ghost, and I'm like, people need to quit messing with these things.
Scarface,
especially a classic like Roadhouse. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I don't know if that. I wonder if they're gonna do that more legacy sequels, that type of thing.
Yeah,
I feel like they did it with Top Gun. I'd feel if it's good, then I'll be there.
Yeah,
I will be there.
I'm how do you not? I grew up wanting to be Dalton and a bouncer and live in Roadhouse.
Hey, you could. You're an actor. You could all go.
You could do that.
I did when I was 19. I was a bouncer at a bar.
Oh wait, Patrick Swayze's dead.
But
dude, easy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Hey, that's
cancer,
why I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
I was playing a softball game.
Pretty quick, man.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It was.
Well, I always say that because it feels like for the remakes that are happening that are good, it really takes one specific formula, and that's Tom Cruise to be able to defy time and age.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, he can still play the role.
Maybe that's it.
So I didn't
Maybe
know
it's
Swayze was on
Patrick
like a good
Swayze's
run.
not here, and it's like let's not remake his movie.
Yeah, are you going to be able to actually capture the thing that made it
with
cool?
Jake Gyllenhaal? You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
he's good, but
Who
yeah, I
would
don't
you
know.
pick to be in Roadhouse right now?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like there's anyone no one comes to mind about having kind of like the Patrick Swayze type of thing. He did have kind of a weird, kind of like how Richard Gere has like a strange. It's a thing that's just his. It's not necessarily a fantastic actor, but he kind of brings a feeling that's like, okay, it's just Richard Gere, not going to get anyone else. And I feel like Patrick Swayze kind of had that too, so that would be tough.
Yeah,
it'd be tough to do that.
I mean, I would go.
You'd probably almost have to find like a nobody, like go find for a good nobody.
To me, you know who that is?
Miles Teller.
You?
Well,
yes,
I could do that.
You could do that.
To me, that's Rock. That's Dwayne Johnson.
Meaning,
A
like
nobody?
he's got a
I
unique.
think he's got his thing where it's like I wouldn't say, and I hope The Rock never comes after me because he's like it sounds
Well, I
like
hope
a
he
great.
does.
Yeah, that would be funny.
That'd be
sounds
great
like
content.
But a civil
a
suit.
great human being. But I'm like, are you really that good of an actor?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't
But
think
there's something he brings, and you're like,
he's The Rock.
But there's something he brings to
his
thing, you're
movies mainly are for China. Like those movies that the
So
movies
he's like David Hasselhoff,
like the Earthquake movie, the Rampage
One-Armed
movie.
Man.
Like they literally made those movies knowing that they would make no money in America and would just make all their money in China.
Sweet.
Like most of his big budget movies are that. So like
Is
that.
Kevin Hart in on this deal too? Is that
I
what we
I
keep
feel like
getting?
what was
Hart
the one
is
that they were in,
for-
like Central Intelligence or something like that? The one that they were in. They kind
they-
of do like the buddy thing every now and then.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really Kevin Hart.
Absolutely.
He's fantastic.
He just did another buddy movie.
Mark
God
Wahlberg.
damn it, Mark Wahlberg. Yeah,
Mark
there.
Wahlberg,
Mark Wahlberg plays a. It just seems very
money.
Mark Wahlberg. It's like the Entourage version of
Suspenders?
He's like, he's like, I'm skydiving right now. Okay, how are you calling me?
All right, good stuff from our boy Josh from Iverstein's. Remember, get over to iversteinsfarms.com. Check out the butcher bundles. Click on the top right there, and you'll be on the delivery route. Good to see Nathan in studio. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll be there on Sunday getting you ready 1 to 3 o'clock from Lucy's. Remember, if you're interested in getting over there, just email our buddy Rhett at rmb-builders.com. He's got a bus leaving 9:30 on Sunday morning, coming back right after the game. So it should be a great opening weekend of college football. We'll be telling you all about it Monday morning here. With no Labor Day off here. We'll be back in studio on Monday morning breaking down the game from the night before. Okay. So have a great weekend. Like and share button. Don't forget Mic'd Up coming your way 4:30 this afternoon, live on location from Uncle Earl's.
Get the bender started.
Stop it and see him. Yes, nobody's working today. This is Friday of a game week. Nobody was even working yesterday.
You got to drink
so
Friday.
Stop it in Uncle Earl's. Hit the like and share button. Make sure you know we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Sunday.
Drink Friday, feel bad Saturday, drink again Saturday. Sunday, you don't even wake up hungover. Monday, you're off, and that's the formula.